Okay, folks, we are back. Another episode of Street to Strategy, episode 34. Wow. Anyways, make sure you get a copy of my book. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. Welcome to the Show That Never Ends. That's the title, written by me, Jay McWilliams. Today, I have a new guest. Let me give him an intro. Some journeys are written in titles. Others are written in sacrifice, resilience, and the quiet determination to keep moving forward when the road grows steep. Today, we step into the story of a man whose life has been forged through discipline, service, and leadership. A man who spent nearly 3 decades standing inside one of the toughest systems in America, carrying responsibility few truly understand. Born in Fontana and later rooted in Visalia, his foundation was built on hard work long before the uniforms and rank ever came into view. A graduate of Mount Whitney High School in 1987, he first worked in insurance, learning early the value of responsibility and perseverance. But his calling towards service ran deeper. For 9 years, he served as a reservist in the United States Marine Corps, where discipline, grit, and brotherhood became part of his identity. In 1991, he entered the California Department of Corrections, stepping into a world few can fully comprehend. A world of tension, danger, politics, and constant pressure. Yet through every challenge, he climbed. It took him 11 years to earn the rank of sergeant, not because the road was easy, but because meaningful journeys rarely are. Then, in just 5 years, he rose again to lieutenant, proving that persistence always leaves its mark. He served as a correctional counselor, guiding others through some of the darkest chapters of their lives, before eventually retiring as a captain after completing an extraordinary 27-year career. Along the way, he endured setbacks that would have broken many, including being demoted back to sergeant during the budget cuts under Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. But resilience is revealed not when life elevates you, but when life tests you, and he kept moving forward. By the time he retired, he was overseeing some of the most demanding responsibilities within the department: ISU, gang investigations, and internal affairs. Positions that required courage, sharp instinct, and unshakable integrity. Today, we sit down not just with a former captain, but with a man whose life reflects endurance, humility, and service. A man who understands leadership, not as authority, but as a responsibility earned one difficult day at a time. His journey has brought him to my table. This is David Andress. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Man, dude, that's a lot. You've done a lot, brother. Question 1, let's get to it. What do you remember most vividly about being born in Fontana and growing up in Visalia?
Well, I don't remember a whole lot about Fontana. I have family in Fontana. I was born in Fontana, but raised in Bloomington, California for the first several years of my life. My parents were divorced when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
We came to Visalia right away, but they got back together when I think I was about 4 or 5, and then I went to school over there in Bloomington, California for maybe a year or 2 years.
Okay.
And then it didn't work out between our parents again, so we ended up back in Visalia. So that's pretty much it.
When your parents split, were you with mom?
I was with mom, and I'd go back summers, Easters, and Christmas with dad, and we'd go to the racetrack over there in Fontana. I remember that.
I remember that Fontana track.
Yeah, and then we would spend time at Dad was one of those dads take kids to Disneyland and Magic Mountain a lot and stuff like that, SeaWorld and stuff. So it's a lot of that stuff. But, at the same time, Dad put us to work,
Got it.
He we're digging holes at a young age, So he had us working. I was mixing cement probably at 5 years old. He had us working. He was no joke.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
What kind of kid were you growing up, brother?
I was a happy kid. I was joyful. I think I was, as far as, seems like I was always smiling, cracking jokes. We come from a broken family. There's issues and stuff, and there's drama and stuff. But I think I masked it with just being silly. So
I was going to tell you this, man. We have that in common, man.
Yeah.
In fact, if you really get down to brass tacks, a lot of dudes that end up in our careers, we all have similar backgrounds. A lot of us broken homes.
Isn't that something?
It really is.
Wow.
Who had the biggest influence on your character during your early years?
You know what I'm going to say? The biggest influence on my character, my life, was my mother.
Okay.
My mother is a huge influence. She was a single lady who raised 3 children, and my oldest brother, who was not her child, he was my dad's child, raised 4 kids on her own. You know,
Yeah, impressive, bro.
yeah, she went back to school, got her bachelor's degree, and had a career with county, and she did really well to raise 4 children on her own. She never remarried. She wanted to make sure that she was in charge of her children and that she raised. So mom was mom and dad, counselor, friend. She was everything. Mom was it.
I can tell you this, man. I have a lot of respect for single mothers.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was raised by one.
Isn't that something?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what lessons did your family teach you about work, respect, and resilience?
Man, work. I mean, work ethic was always there. Again, like, dad put us to work,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong. So did mom. We were cleaning house. We had chores,
Yeah.
as a child, we had to dust this week. Next week was all dishes. The week after that was the bathrooms. The week after that was sweeping. There was 4 kids. So we rotated.
I was going to say 4 kids can create one hell of a mess, though, too.
That's funny. That's true. So we were busy. And then watching mom, I think the greatest thing was watching mom, because here she was, a single mom with a high school diploma, going back to school with 4 kids, full-time divorced, on social services, and making it happen. She was not.
I respect that, dude.
Yeah, her goal was not to be on social services. Her goal was to make sure that she was able to provide on her own, and she did.
I love it.
Especially from an old-fashioned family, she was being watched by her family.
Was mom from Visalia?
Mom was born in New Mexico, reservation, New Mexico, and she came here with the family first down in San Bernardino, and then up here to Visalia, following crops.
Okay.
I suppose, her family's,
Field work.
work, yeah.
That right there, that's real work, dude.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says, dude. That right there is on a whole other level, dude.
Yeah.
Looking back now, were there early signs that you were destined for a life of service?
Yeah, that's should have had these questions for me before I started. No, you know what? No, you know what? I've always wanted to be an attorney growing up. I said, man, I'm going to be an attorney. I'm going to, a defense attornay type thing, or even a prosecutor. I just wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
That was a sign I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
I wanted to serve in that capacity and eventually be a judge. As I like fairness, so
That's a lofty goal, man.
As a young kid, elementary school all the way back, my goal was to be an attorney, a judge, and maybe even get into politics and be a senator was my elementary school goal.
All right.
Yeah, I was a nerd.
All right.
Yeah.
But you know what, man? I could tell you something. You know what's interesting about guys like us is I've always been a leader. Right? I just, there's something about me. When I stepped into a room, even with my friends, everybody, nobody had to worry about who the leader was. That was me. And there's something about you too, man. You think about our childhoods, whether we realize it or not, it seems like there's always these things that are just pushing us right where we need to go. Right? It is. Yeah. Here's a good one. What was life like at Mount Whitney High School in the 80s, man?
Man, it was such a blast. I was... when I think back to the 80s at Mount Whitney High School in Visalia, California, I think the thing that stands out most was I didn't know race.
Yeah.
I didn't know ethnicity. I just knew we were a bunch of kids in high school, and I was a choir boy. I was a singer.
Yeah.
So I was really involved in the men's glee, the boys chorus, and the high school choir, the Mount Whitney Pioneer Choir. I was really involved, student director.
Love it.
Yeah, for 3 years. I did my sophomore years, the men's glee student director, my junior years, the Mount Whitney Pioneer Choir, and then my senior year as a girls' chorus student director. So I did that. I was busy. I was real busy.
You know what's interesting, man? And I think you're so right. There's something about, I think even in California, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're such a melting pot. There's all sorts of races here. And even when I was in the military, I'm sure you saw it, man. There was guys that they had never been around black people, or they'd never been around Hispanic people. Mm-hmm. Dude, one thing about being from California, we got exposed. And you're right. we didn't trip off a color of skin. If you were cool, you were cool. I didn't care what color you were.
Right.
And I think that's a real plus about growing up in California for us.
Yeah.
Because you get guys from deep south. I went to boot camp with dudes, Mississippi, Alabama, hey, Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something, man. Racism is alive and well down in the South, man.
It's real.
And did you already have a vision for your future when you graduated in 1987? Was it just like, I'm going to get my bachelor's, then I'm going to go to law school, I'm going to become that judge? And
you know what the sad thing is the reality of it all is my mom she did it herself. She did it herself. And so her expectations for her children were the same.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. And honestly, I didn't know that I had a choice. And I didn't know how to get there. And I didn't have counselors really directing me. And if they did, it wasn't clicking.
Yeah.
I was distracted. I was a kid. And so honestly, no. I really didn't know what I was able to do. It was interesting because I was in boot camp, or I just graduated boot camp, and I found out my sister was in junior college. And I was asking myself, how did she do that?
Yeah.
That's junior college. I didn't know it was possible. Mom said, you better be able to pay your tuition. You have your bills, you have this, you have that. So you gotta figure it out. I didn't know. So it wasn't an option for me. I didn't think it was.
It's just interesting how, believe it or not, man, our stories are pretty damn similar, bro. Wow. Before corrections, you worked in insurance. Mm-hmm. What did that season of life teach you?
You know what? I did take several classes. I took a lot of college classes, junior college. And it was early on in high school. My brother was already in college, and he was going to San Francisco State. And he had a job with energy.
That's actually a good school.
Yeah, he got a job with energy conservation company. And so he put me on here in Visalia. He talked the boss into putting me to work out here in sales in high school. But they required me to take some college classes first. So in high school, I was taking COS classes where sales and communications,
love it,
marketing, management. And so honestly, sales was all about being able to share a thought, present a picture, and exchange.
You got to be
ideas.
a people person. If you're going to be good at sales, you better know how to talk to people. Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Show them that vision. And so that's what it was. It was huge in that aspect that I was able to paint a picture for someone and sell that idea, sell that picture, and get them to bite off on it. And I thought that was challenging, and it was fun, and it was actually rewarding.
Well, also too, man, I just picture a young kid. That's a lot of responsibility to drop on a young kid.
It was huge.
That tells me that you were squared away somehow, some way, somewhere, man, because they're not just going to hand some dipshit 18-year-old kid that responsibility.
Right.
You were also a Marine,
yes,
right? And thank you for your service, Devil Dog.
Thanks, sir.
All right. How did the military shape your mentality?
Well, I am a Marine.
You're always a Marine.
Always a Marine.
Yeah.
And it's a do or die. That's.
Did you go to MCRD?
I went to MCRD San Diego. I'm a Hollywood Marine.
Okay.
And it was and it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. I have a lot of friends that are Marines, and the reality is the Marine gives you that confidence, do or die.
Yeah.
And you have a mission, you're going to do it. And the mission's going to get done. And if it's not going to get done, you're going to die trying. And the scariest thing in the world to me, though, is a Marine.
Yeah.
Even as a Marine, I'll never mess with a Marine.
Yeah.
Because they all have that same mentality.
See, I went to the Naval Training Center right next door. That's where I graduated boot camp, right?
Yeah, been there.
And what's interesting, man? I mean, dude, we would see you guys over there, dude, on the MCRD side, man, and I'd be like, you could just hear those drill instructors, man. They were just booming, man. You would hear those guys screaming, man. And plus, you went through at a different time.
Right.
91. No, that was like late 80s, 87.
Yeah, 87.
I was going to say, during those times, those drill instructors back then, they'll kick your ass.
It was hands-on.
Yeah.
I experienced
they'll kick your ass.
Yeah.
What did the military teach you about leadership and humility? Because they'll humble you down real quick.
You know what? That's funny because, that's the breakdown process. Leadership, the reality is that, when the person leading you drops, someone has to pick it up.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to know what you're doing. Honestly, in my career, it set me back. That mentality, because in the Marine Corps, you have to be prepared. You have to know everything that your boss is doing, that your NCOIC or non-commissioned officer is doing. You have to know what he's doing in order to take his job. You can't just wing it. There's no winging it.
Yeah.
And so
And when you're in charge of people, you cannot bullshit the people underneath you, because guess what? They see through it very quickly. We've both worked for great leaders in the military, and then I've also worked for some shit leaders in the military.
Not so great.
Yeah. And, my problem was when something was wrong, I said it. And people don't like that. But I was respectful, but I would be like,
I love it.
We're doing this wrong. There's a better way to do it. There's a better, what? There's another way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to join the United States Marine Corps as a reservist? Because that's what a lot of people don't know, for just the folks at home. A reservist is this. He's going to come in 1 weekend a month. You're going to drill, and then you got 2 weeks in the summer that you're going to go full time. But you're still trying to live your life outside the Marines, and then one weekend a month, you're going and becoming a Marine. That's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility. And I've seen it actually jack some dudes up because they would miss drill. And they would, other things. And you get yourself in trouble with the Marines real quick.
And it's funny because, I'll start. I initially joined with the intention of following through on MESEP, I think it was called, and that was a enlisted officer program. And so when I went, I was obligated to school. So rather than going to the taking advantage of the GI Bill later, it was GI Bill as I'm in.
Oh, that's actually cool. I wish they had that when I was in.
Yeah, so I think it was called MESEP. It's been such a long time. It was a Navy thing back then, and Navy ROTC thing. And so my thing was I was using it to get my education. That was after high school, I'm going to get my education. This will pay for it.
Yeah.
But I was having too much fun, and so I screwed that off. But I burned up a little bit of it, and so that's how I ended up doing 9 years on an 8-year contract, because I had to pay off that money that I wasted, going to school, not doing anything with it, and so I had to pay it off in the end. So I did 9 years active reserve.
You know what's so interesting, man, is I remember I used my GI Bill going to the police academy. Hey, dude, I was getting $503 a month. Not a lot. And back then, bro, that was all the money in the world.
That's food.
No, dude. But you know what? I look at those times. I mean, I can laugh about it now, but back then, describe the emotions you felt the first day you put on that Marine uniform. Because I'll tell you this, one thing about a Marine, those dress blues of a Marine, that is, in my opinion, I think that's the best uniform there is in the military, hands down.
Yeah, I think, honestly, you go in and right away they're putting you in camis back then in the 80s, or camouflage. Yeah. And then, you get closer to graduation and you're putting on your class A's, your greens.
Yeah.
And your piss cover.
Oh, yeah.
And then blues are later. But it was all about the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, because we didn't get to wear that Eagle, Globe, and Anchor until the day we retired, until the day we graduated.
Yeah.
And so that was it. And the feelings, it was achievement, because the reality was it was over 150, I believe, something like that in our platoon when I started platoon 3070, 3rd Battalion, 70th Platoon. And I want to say there was less than 90. It's like 87 of us that graduated.
Hey, I tell you what, man, we would see a lot of guys. In fact, I used to have to give guys, like, leading up to me graduating boot camp, dude, we would have to go and hang out with these guys that were getting processed out, man, because my drill instructor was in charge of special training. So he was linking up with those, the Marine Corps drill instructors, man, and dude, I mean, we would see van loads of dudes. They would just load them up, and they would disappear, and you never saw them again.
Isn't that something?
They were just gone.
It just disappeared. They'd wig out, or they'd get medical. One or the other. Wig out or go medical.
I was going to say, I saw a lot of dudes wig.
Yeah.
What was boot camp like for you mentally and physically? Because I could tell you this, that is the most intense boot camp there is in the military, hands down.
Marine Corps boot camp, it's funny because every Marine goes through it. Whether you end up a grunt, a ground pounder, in logistics, with intelligence, or mechanic.
Yeah.
It's the same boot camp, and they train you to kill is what it is. It's all about killing. You're not allowed to die. The Marine Corps. If you want to die, join the Army. The Marine Corps, you're trained to kill. You're not allowed to die. And so it was that mentality was really intense. It took my joy away. When I was a little kid, I was joyful. I was happy. I was a clown. It was gone. Marine Corps took it away.
Yeah. Well, and I just saw a quote on a show called Lioness. Have you watched that? It's on Paramount.
Yeah.
But they said, do you know what it is to be a Marine? And this lady, she goes, well, I was being hunted and I ran into a recruiting station and there was a Marine there and he saved me. And he goes, then you do know what it means to be a Marine. He goes, we protect people. He goes, that's what we do. What values from the Marines stayed with you forever?
You never quit.
Damn right.
You never quit.
Damn right.
You do or die.
I get it.
Never stop.
How did military discipline influence the way you approached life afterwards?
Hugely.
Big time, man.
Hugely.
Big time.
Yeah.
We know what guys like us. Early is on time. On time is late. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Hey,
I hear about it.
Hey,
Yeah.
think about this. What did it also teach you? Attention to detail. Right? When you're doing something, you do it the best way you can. Right? We don't half-ass shit. There's something about that. It puts that in us. It served me well, and clearly it served you well.
Right.
You know?
And you do it with the least.
Yes.
With the
Yeah.
least.
Oh, yeah.
With the least. With the tools that you do not have, accomplish this mission.
Yes.
Huge.
What were some of the biggest sacrifices you made during your 9 years as a Marine?
Being away from home.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah. Where'd you have to do your 2 weeks at? Where would they send you?
My AT, it's funny because even on our drill dates, they're always on holidays. The Marine Corps set you up.
Yeah. They don't make it easy.
No. We got Marines. We have Marines in the fleet. They're not home. You're not going to be home either. So Mother's Day, Easter, Christmas, we were at drill. We served all our holidays were in drill.
What base were you drilling at?
It was Chester Avenue in Bakersfield.
Okay.
And then when they send to ATs, I've been all over the United States. Camp Atterbury, Indiana was probably my favorite. Great people out in Indiana.
But I think, you know what base I think is beautiful and it's massive? Pendleton.
Oh, Pendleton.
Dude,
Huge.
that thing is 500,000 acres, dude. And think about this. If they put condos there, those would be $5 million condos, man.
Coronado.
Coronado. Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. But the only bad thing is there's Marines everywhere.
Yeah.
There's Marines everywhere.
Well, I got to live in Coronado for 6 months.
Oh, sweet.
And I was at North Island.
Oh,
right?
Coronado Island.
And so, dude, you got to see, but we were right there by the amphib base. So you would see all the SEAL dudes running around, and I would be like, and I remember this was so funny. Everyone's like, hey, man, we should become SEALs. Well, dude, we're at the Hotel Del Coronado, and this is wintertime, bro. And, back then, man, I was in the military, early 90s, right? Hey, we're freezing, man, out there, dude. And those guys are out there in the water. And one of my buddies goes, man, I can't believe they're quitting. I go, have you ever stepped foot in the Pacific Ocean? He goes, no, man, I'm from Florida. I go, that water out there, I bet you it's 50 degrees, dude. I go, cold snaps people. It does, man.
You know what, to add on to that a little bit, I was very fortunate, even as a reservist, even as a 1341 was my MOS, heavy equipment mechanic. Even as a heavy equipment mechanic, we went and trained with SEALs at Coronado. They dropped us off a helo and put us on an Avon out in the middle of nowhere, and we were learning ocean navigation. Just trying to make it to the beach, our first waypoint, just to hit the right spot on the beach.
Love it.
And they dropped us with the SEAL out there. And, it's crazy because I'm a mechanic. You can't do that in any other branch. You get to train with special forces. They're giving you a class on tide navigation and bring you in. It was fantastic training. It was good training. Even as a reservist.
One of the coolest things happened to me, I'm on an aircraft carrier, and they're like, hey, man, a helo's coming in. And they go...
on an aircraft carrier.
And they go, don't talk to these dudes, right? So we see this helo coming in, right? Dude, these guys jump out, dude, and they got beards and long hair, right? And Man, and I mean, clearly there were SEALs,
SEALs,
right?
yeah.
And, but everyone was like, leave them be. Well, now we're in the chow hall. Well, dude, when you went to the chow hall, you had to be fully dressed. You couldn't be going down there in no flip flops. Well, these SEALs walk in there, dude, they got on tank tops, shorts, flip flops, and the CO went over there and kissed their ass. And I just remember going, and my buddy goes, man, why do they get to do that? I go, because they're badasses, dude.
SEALs.
I go, we're just working on jets, dude. So shut up, dude. You know what I mean?
They are badasses.
Was there a moment in the Marines that truly transformed you as a man? I'm sure that day you get that when you graduate as a Marine. I'm sure that's something to be proud of, bro.
You get that eagle glowing anchor. You know what? It's funny because you go through the process of the Marine Corps, you go through boot camp, and then you go through training, and you do all this training. It's constant training. It's funny because you do rear area security. You're setting up perimeters, going on patrols, and you're a mechanic, and you're coming back, and you're turning a wrench. You're doing it all. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot. People don't think about it, but it's a lot of work. We work harder than active duty side.
Oh, yeah.
But I tell you what, the thing that transformed me was when I saw two Marines fight.
Oh, yeah.
That alone showed me that no matter how tough you are, no matter how badass you are, how well trained you are, there's just always someone better.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a reality.
You know what, man? I got in a few fights in the Navy, right? And in bars. And I got into a fight one night in a bar with some Marines. And, man, the bouncers, man, dude, they were brutal, man. And then, Shore Patrol came and got us, man. And we're actually lucky we didn't end up getting kicked out. But I just remember, this, man. But, we're all 20, 21 years old, thinking that we can catch bullets with our teeth. And I was one of those guys. I was a nice dude, but I didn't take shit from nobody. Right. And I don't care who you are, man. And, in fact, I had to go to captain's mess for fighting, but
been there.
Yeah.
I tell you what, real quick, Jason. Though I love the Navy, and I'll tell you why I love the Navy because they let me live a few times.
Yeah.
We were mouthy during Desert Storm. We were sent to. I was sent to White Beach, Okinawa, and we were there 0 dark 30 to late dark 30, which is constantly working. And after I think we were there for a couple months, we finally got some liberty, and they sent us to the O Club. On White Beach. It was a fuel depot. And they shut down everything, let the Marines on board just to, relieve some stress. And me and some buddies grabbed some brass monkey, and we, after slamming some beers, and we grabbed some brass monkey, and we walked the beach, and there was a whole bunch of Navy personnel, squid, all over the beach. And they're, and we're mouthing off. There's three of us, me, Lacatani, and Valdivia Cortez, and we were already throwing them back. And so,
drunk Marines starting shit. Say it ain't so.
we were, and you know what? Those guys picked us up. My feet left the ground. Lacatani, big old Samoan guy, his feet left the ground. He's huge, and his feet left the ground. Valdivia Cortez, little border brother, his feet left the ground. And next thing you know, there's Navy personnel in front of us, Navy personnel in back, and they walked us through their beach landing. They're unloading right there. And they put us down on the other side, and they said, "You fellas have a nice day." They let us live. I tell you what, I love my Navy. Those are my brothers, man. You gotta love them.
I tell you something, man. I work with some Marines, man, and they were squared away cats, man. Well, in fact, you kind of went right into this. How important was brotherhood inside the Corps?
Man, it was nothing but important. That was survival.
I still got about a half a dozen dudes that I was in the Navy with. In fact, one of my best friends lives in Florida, and he's an attorney. If it hadn't been for the Navy, I would have never met him.
Wow.
And you're right. You gotta have that core group that actually cares about you. Because if you don't, you can't be a lone wolf in there, man. It's just not gonna work. And
no.
Here's one that I think a lot of people would like to hear. What misconceptions do civilians often have about Marines?
They're not idiots.
No, they're not.
They're not idiots. They're not. They don't chase women. They're not whores. Marines are not whores. Not all of them, anyways.
Yeah.
But you have a highly ethical, highly moral group of men.
I would agree.
Representing that eagle, globe, and anchor in the United States.
Yeah.
And its chain of command and the president. That's it.
I totally agree. Well, you know what? Even on my side, man, it was the same stuff, man. I mean, I say some of those cats I worked with, man, were some of the finest people that I ever got to be around. And how did balancing reserve duty with civilian life challenge you? Because that can be difficult.
I lost some jobs.
Yeah.
During transitioning, because even though it was a law that.
Yeah, they can't get rid of you. They shouldn't get rid of you because you're not there because of the reservists. But they I was going to say, but this, if somebody really wants you gone, they can make you gone.
Yeah, I lost a couple jobs that way. So that was probably that. And then again, being away from home.
Yeah.
It's funny because people say, well, it's only 1 week in a month. Well, you know what? It's a Friday night right after you get off work, all the way till I didn't get home till Sunday morning because the Marine Corps has you till Sunday.
And they'll tell you when it's time to go home.
Yeah, 24 hours, 2,400 hours comes up, 12 o'clock midnight comes up. They're supposed to let you go. It don't always happen that way. You're
I
still
often said
cleaning weapons.
this too, and this, bro. There's no such thing as overtime in the military.
No.
So guess what? We don't work a 40-hour work week, and I could tell you something, man. I mean, me and the boys, man, we were working on jets. Dude, we were doing 12 hours, 12 on, 12 off. Then when we went to detachment, we would go to Fallon, Nevada. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, now you're working 24 on, 24 off. Dude, I would literally go sleep in the engine bays of the jets, man, just so you could get some shut-eye. And people don't realize not everybody can do that.
No.
And here's the question. What led you to join the California Department of Corrections in 1991?
Survival.
Yeah. That was a good job back then too.
Yeah, that's all it was here I had no college and I was just starting a family and it was all about being able to pay the bills. That's all it was. It was a job and it was a job that paid well. And it was a job that was easy for me to get, because I was a Marine, I was level-headed and and I could pass a test.
Plus, state jobs, state benefits.
Oh, all of it.
Yeah, man.
Had the retirement. That was huge.
Yes. Oh, yeah, man. To be able to retire at 50, people don't realize what a gift that is.
It's huge.
It's, do you remember your very first day walking into the prison? What was your first joint? Where were you assigned to your first prison?
Well, honestly, walking into the prison, our first times were at Old Folsom, New Folsom, and DVI, I think, OJT. So we had that experience. That was overwhelming. When I was in the academy in Galt, I got activated because of Desert Storm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I had 1 week till graduation, and so I was fortunate because our he was equivalent to an associate warden. I forgot what they call him, but he was in charge of the academy. He's a veteran. And he made some phone calls for me, and he got me extended. I was amazed he was able to do it. And
you know what? But that is he had respect that you were serving, and he tried to help you.
He sure did. Bless his heart. And so when I was in there, my first joint was Folsom State Prison. But because I got extended, I was able to finish my academy. 1 week later, I graduated, went home. My sea bag was ready to go, and I reported to. That was a Friday I graduated. I was Friday in Bakersfield on Chester. Friday I was on a plane to Okinawa, Japan.
Wow.
And providing support because a lot of Marines had left that area to go to Kuwait. Bulk fuelers. I was with the bulk fuel battalion, engineer battalion, bulk fuel unit. And so when I finished that, my coming back, my first place was Folsom, and I was there just for about a week before they gave me an emergency transfer because I could be closer to home. I had nothing. I had no resources, anything. So I was able to come back home, and my first institution was Wasco State Prison in Kern Valley.
So when you walked in those doors the first time and you kind of looked around and thought, okay, it's got to be a little bit of a culture shock.
Oh, it's intimidating. It's a whole different world. Yeah. That's what I first thought of. It's a society that no one in the world sees unless you walk through those gates. It's a whole different society. And it's into time stuff. It
is
apocalyptic.
I only worked the jail for a year. When I worked out here at the Bob Wiley Detention Facility. And man, by the time I got to Visalia, it just made me 10 times the cop, bro, because I got exposed to all those gangsters.
Right.
I'd already known all the lingo. I got to know a lot of the shot callers. But people don't realize the stuff that we see. And there's just a way that you have to carry yourself inside a facility.
Right.
Because you're dealing with people that are getting ready to get sent away for 50, 60 years. You're in there with dudes that, think about this. If a guy's already serving a life sentence and he kills you, what are they going to do? Give him another life sentence?
Yeah, nothing to lose. Yeah.
What shocked you most about correctional work?
It was all a shock.
Yeah.
It was all a shock. I don't think there was anything that stood out that shocked me the most. You know what? How
about the level of violence? There's a lot of violence in there that people don't realize.
That didn't shock me so
Okay.
much. It's huge. That was huge. I think what really shocked me was the moral. There are no morals. You know what? It's prison is hell. It
Yes,
is.
it is.
When you walk in that gate, you're walking into hell. Satan's alive in prison. Satan is really alive in prison, and he's flourishing. And so when you're walking there, the morality doesn't exist amongst the population, you know? And so I think that's what really shocked me the most. You know, they might put on a facade that it's there, you know, that I'm, you know, ethical and moral, but the reality is it's not a lot, very few.
Well, remember this, the game, whether on the street or in the joint, they don't show sympathy.
None.
And so that's what I tell people. I don't care if you're going to go be a cop, you're going to go be a CO. You're dealing with people that have spent their whole lives not having sympathy. They prey on people. And now you get a joint with 1,000 dudes that are all thinking that way. That's a rough environment, brother.
Oh, yeah.
What was the emotional adjustment like entering such a high stress environment? Because it is stress. And if you mess up bad enough, you can get fired real quick.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reality is Wasco State Prison, when I got there, had 7,000. It was 7,000 inmates.
Damn.
Approximately over 7,000.
Dude, that's a big joint.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. And then you get to SADF, Corcoran too, and I think we were overpopulated. I think they're 150% capacity or more. We had
10,000?
10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, we were up there for a while there. There was well over 9,000.
What was how big was Corcoran 1?
Corcoran 1, I want to say, I'm not exactly sure, but I want to say it's about 4,000.
Okay.
And that's just 100% capacity, but then they go over.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so maybe 5, 6, I don't know.
Got it. How dangerous was the prison system during the early 90s?
Oh, it was extremely dangerous. Don't get me wrong, it was dangerous even before then.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more
dangerous. It's dangerous now.
Yeah, but we got our tools in the 80s. The union really fought for us to even have a side hand baton. You know, and then later on we were to get pepper spray and, you know, be able to walk the yard and have these tools with us, you know, to enforce rules. And
well, think about this. Before that, man, I mean, you were just having to go toe-to-toe with these dudes, man.
Toe-to-toe. And so I think effective communication was huge.
Oh, yeah. You got to know how to talk.
You had to know how to talk because you want to avoid all that other stuff if you could. Well, I did anyways.
I tell you something. I was the same way. It served me well in my career, just knowing how to talk to people. Because guess what? You got to know how to dial it up and when to dial it down.
Yeah.
You got to know how to come at people straight. You know, I used to live like this, man. I want to treat everybody with dignity and respect. But we also have to let people know, have no fear of who's in charge. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
What does society misunderstand about correctional officers back then and even now?
They are not underpaid.
Yeah.
They are not underpaid. Their sacrifice is huge.
Yes, they are.
It's, you know, they tend to become a product of their environment.
Oh, yeah.
They're with the worst of the worst, those that hit rock bottom every single day. And sadly, a lot of officers, they pick that up.
You know what, man, I've told some stories on here, man, where I had a buddy that was working out there, man, and, you know, he's starting to call Hispanic people Chicans. He's calling white dudes wood, right? Yeah. And I told him one day, I was like, hey, dude, don't buy into this bullshit. I go, you're walking like an inmate. You're talking like an inmate. You're doing this shit, man. Don't do that, dude. Yeah. It's a job. It's a good job. But I think, you know, then how often do we see that some correctional officer got caught smuggling dope into the joint. You know what I mean?
You're talking about, Jason, it's 18 to 16 hours, 18 to 16 hours every single day with these guys, not making contact on occasion. It is with these guys 8 to 16 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, constantly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not pulling someone over, once every 20 minutes, and having contact with, some stay-at-home mom. These guys are the worst of the worst that have weapons keistered, and that'll kill you. It wouldn't even hesitate, so they staff tends to be acclimate to that.
Yes.
Sadly. But
anybody who serves out there and works out there, you got my respect, because I know this. It's not an easy job.
No. So staff are underpaid.
I agree.
Yeah.
How quickly did you realize corrections was more than just a job? Because it's almost got to become a lifestyle.
Yeah. And you worked really hard for it not to be.
Correct.
But
you got to think about this, man. You have to have the mentality.
You do.
And I think that there's a lot of guys, and we've both seen this, guys that have lasted a week, or guys that have lasted a month, or a year, or not even a year. Mm-hmm. There's just something about them. They are not made for this type of work. Mm-hmm. And, I respect it when a dude goes, hey, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. But anybody that can last a 20-year career out there, you got my respect.
It's huge.
Because I know this. It's not easy to do.
Mm-mm. Not at all. So I would have to, and what was the question again?
I said, how quickly did you realize that it's more than a job? It's not just a job. You got to think of it in a different way.
For me, it was always just a job.
It was.
Just for me. And the reason is this is just me. First, I'm a child of God. Second, I'm a husband and a father. Third, I'm an American citizen. Fourth, I'm a Marine.
Yeah.
Being a correctional officer is what I did for a living.
So that's way down on the list for you. Yeah. Good man.
And that was a way for me to survive it.
Good.
I had to think like that. It's what I did. It's not who I am.
No, I love it, man. And you know what? And I think you're right. I think it helped you.
Yeah.
What survival instincts did you have to develop early? Because from the jump, you got to start looking at things different.
Man, I tell you what, my back's to the wall even today.
Yeah.
I'm measuring people top to bottom, left to right arm, left arm, looking for that prison ink, looking for ink, reading the ink.
Yeah.
It's constant. And
you know what? We'll never be able to turn it off, brother.
I wish we
never,
could.
Never. I know.
Right.
You know what? I mean, we've both been retired for a minute now. Right. I just hit my 5 years, and I've realized in the 5 years, I've kind of chilled out a little bit. But man, my first year retired, bro, I'm still carrying it like a cop. And I had to tell myself one day, Jay, you're not a cop no more. Let it go. And, man, but I know a lot of dudes who can't let it go. Mm-hmm. And, so I'm really lucky that I got to chill out. But,
right. So my back's to the wall all the time.
Yeah.
Survival instinct, back to the wall. Hyper, what do they call that?
Hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance, constantly, just always looking.
Yeah.
Even right now.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
I'm uncomfortable. The back's to the door's right there.
I got you, man. If they bust in, I got you.
I appreciate that.
Was there a veteran officer who mentored you early in your early careers, in your early years?
You know what? There was a lot, but there was a lot. There was a lot.
Is there anybody you would like to name by name?
You know what? It's been so long ago. Ed Carrillo.
Okay.
He was a sergeant when I was a young officer, and Ed probably had about 3 or 4 years in at the time, but he probably stood out the most, and the reason was because he loved staff, and he would make sure the needs of staff were met.
You know what? And here's the sad part. That's becoming rare, bro.
Yeah.
It's becoming rare. Mm-hmm. And so when I hear about a guy like him, we need more people like Ed, right? Ed. I mean, I've worked with some guys, man. It's sad to say, man. I worked with a lot of poor leaders, man.
Yeah.
And what did respect look like inside those prison walls?
You talking about amongst the population? Or?
Yeah. Well, between you and the population.
You know, for me, I never wore sunglasses.
Yeah.
I never wore glasses. I never hid behind glasses. Always want to look in the eye.
Yeah.
Honesty was real. No meant no. Yes meant yes. I can see what I could do.
Yeah.
I never said that. You know,
I always say this too. I always did. You know how I was successful? If I told them I was going to do something, I did it.
Yeah.
And because you know this, that's their world. We're there part-time. They live it 24/7.
That's their life. They live there.
Yeah.
We're just visiting.
Correct.
Yeah.
What is something about the prison culture that would surprise most people?
All of it.
Yeah, yeah.
All of it. The whole thing. The violence, like
Yeah.
you said, the violence, the lack of morality, the homosexuality.
Yeah.
It's huge.
The manipulation.
Huge.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. Now this right here is for me because I'm a gang expert. How do gangs influence the daily reality of corrections?
You know what? They ran it.
Yes, they do.
They ran it all.
The inside runs the outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because all the shot callers are locked up.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the influence. They ran everything.
Yeah.
They just let us work there.
Yeah.
You know, it was a game.
It is
It
a
was
game.
a game. And I tell you what, there's a lot of talented staff out there who were able to follow it and play that game. I personally was not good at that,
Yeah.
but I had a lot of friends, coworkers that were amazing with it, and
Love
man,
it.
I would follow their lead. Everyone had their strengths,
Yes.
and everyone had their weaknesses. But those guys that could read gangs and follow those gangs, holy smokes, those guys were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What psychological toll does prison work take on officers?
You know, because you're living in darkness all the time, it tends to bleed over in their personal life.
Yeah.
You know, darkness feels like it's the only thing that's out there, I think.
I put a lot of COs in jail, and
Yeah.
I really have. And there's something about DUI and DV, domestic violence. And, but man, a lot of times, man, we'd show up and talk to these dudes, man. They're carrying it like an inmate, brother. You know, they're talking to us like we're trash. You know, they always loved used to pull out that CDC badge. Get out of my house. I'm a cop like you. I used to grab that badge and go flick it right over my shoulder as I put him in handcuffs.
Law is the law.
But, you know, man, I think I've seen it with this. And here's the sad part. You know this, brother. It's destroyed a lot of people.
Yeah.
It really has. And, you know, it speaks a lot about you that you got the last 27 years. And we're going to get to it, but I know those 27 years weren't all fun and games.
No.
How do officers learn to read danger before it happens?
Well, you know, you look at everything. You look at the environment. You look at the you look at how they're acting, how the population's acting. You look at what they're wearing.
I used to say this, when it gets real quiet, you know this, shit always kicks off right when everyone's quiet.
Yeah.
Because they're plotting, they're getting their shit together, and all of a sudden it just goes boom, and it's just on and cracking.
Yeah, you know, if everyone's in blues, if everyone's wearing boots, no one's wearing their personal stuff. You know, something's hot. You know, this is hot. You know, no one has their personal stuff. No one's bringing their stuff out because they don't want to lose it. It's hot.
Hey,
And
well,
so
you know,
it's-
Marco told a great story.
Read
where
the embodiment.
Yeah, Marco was like, yeah, me and my buddy were walking around the track, and he goes, then I realized, wait, the black guys aren't playing basketball. The Hispanic dudes aren't lifting weights. The white dudes are all bundled up. He's like, something was, and all of a sudden he just goes, next thing you know, he's like, the whole yard just erupts. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
yeah, and Marco had been involved in a few of them.
Oh, yeah.
Some big ones.
yeah. Are you bothered by leg veins of any size, or is leg swelling or pain bugging you or someone you know? I would recommend that you make an appointment with our friends at Sequoia Vein and Wound to take care of it. With a friendly bilingual staff and their years of experience, they are happy to help resolve those issues. Give them a call to get a consult at 559-713-6478 and tell them that J-Mac sent you. How do officers carry trauma without bringing it home? Because that's hard to do.
I don't know that they do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you have guys that are, you know, turned to alcohol or even drugs or end up, you know, in domestic violence situations.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, because you know, people don't realize the amount of trauma that you're dealing with out there.
Yeah.
You're seeing deaths, you're seeing people stabbed, you're seeing people forced into either a gangs, sex, gambling, all that. It all plays a part, man. And when I was working there, guys would be like, "Hey, how do I keep myself out of trouble, deputy?" And I used to be like, "Stay away from gangs, gambling, drugs. If you can stay away from those three things, they might leave you be." I go, "But you know this, man, a jail it's a entity unto itself."
Right.
What did fear look like in that environment?
For me, honestly, when I hit a yard, I was that guy that walked on the yard singing praise and worship music.
Oh, all right.
That was just me.
Good man.
And I'd sing it out loud, and I'd sing "Thank You, Jesus." And so the population knew me, and they knew that the Lord was on my side. And so they were a little scared of me.
I was going to say, and that'll give you almost a level of respect.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing. If you're doing that, then you're not being a hard ass to them. You're being fair.
Yeah.
And I think when you're fair with them, it's always going to come back and pay you in kind. And I think, we both seen cops that were far too hard ass with these dudes.
All right.
And a lot of the times I've seen deputies get attacked. I'm sure you've seen other COs get attacked that just carried it way too hard. Did you ever become emotionally numb from the constant tension?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You almost had to.
Yeah. It's a survival mechanism is what it is.
Because it was one thing after another. I didn't go to work 8 to 5. I went to work 0 dark 30 to when the day ended.
Oh, yeah. 16. Yeah. And for the folks at home, they can do 16-hour shifts. So that's a double. That's a long day to be out there at that prison.
And where I was at, both Wasco and Sadaf, and even Tehachapi, those places, they were hopping. They were kicking. And so you had an incident. As soon as you get there, you had an incident right after that, and right after that, and right after that. You'd have 8 to 16 hours, 8, 16, 10, hours of nothing but violence.
Oh, yeah.
Report writing and everything involved.
Yeah. What moments reminded you that humanity still existed behind bars? They're few and far between, but I saw some good people locked up out there that they helped other people, and I saw that. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, it's all fake.
You thought it was fake?
Yeah, there was, no, I'm sure there was some good stuff out there. I'll tell you what, here was one. When I was a correctional counselor, we had a guy, I don't know his name. He was a lifer. He had multiple life sentences. He wasn't getting out. He couldn't have a cellie because every time they'd give him a cellie, he'd kill him or stab him or do something to him. And he was on level 4. And this guy came screaming to me. I was a correctional counselor. We did classification.
Yeah.
He came to me and he said, "Hey, they're going to give me a cellie. They're going to give me a cellie and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to kill him." Rules change, and someone said, "You're eligible for a cellie. Now you're going to get a cellie." And we started talking about it. And, a long story short, because it's a long story, after talking to this guy for a while, over several days, this guy accepted it. And not only that, he accepted the fact that he was going to do life without, and in the process of me working with him and talking with him, he was able to reach out to his brother, his brother who he had written off years and years and years ago, and reconcile their relationship. I mean, and just to see this guy who was a straight killer. He was a straight killer, and for a lot of good reasons, honestly.
Yeah.
Knowing this guy, I don't blame him. To be able to reconcile that relationship with his brother, to me, was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I think the fact that an inmate was able to forgive and forgive anyways, and reconcile circumstances with his brother that ended up with him being in prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That was just huge. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, good story.
Yeah.
How did you maintain your own moral compass in such a difficult environment?
Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amen.
God, I was always in church. I was very
Pentecostal.
active in church.
What are you?
Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Constantly very involved in in the church. My relationship with God was huge. It still is.
Good for you, brother.
But it's my personal relationship with
Yeah.
God. And having the kids involved, that was it. That was it.
Well, and you know what? I think everybody's got to have something. You got to have something outside the career.
Huge.
I think guys that eat, sleep, live, breathe that stuff out there,
Harsh.
I just think it's not good, brother.
You know what amazes me are those guys that come out, just the officers that focus on their health, and they come out, they're huge, man. It's like, wow, those guys, that's huge. These guys, I got God, and they're focused. They put it all out in the gym.
Yeah.
And those guys just amaze me.
It took you 11 years to become a sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
What kept you motivated during that climb?
Well, you know what? It was one of those things. I tested right away. I think I tested. Man, I tested before 2 years. You could test after 2 years, or you could test before 2 years. You just couldn't promote. And so I tested right away, and I did really well. I think I was in first or second rank, meaning I was going to get picked up right away. But they had this mentality. I had this mentality that I couldn't promote until I was ready to promote, and I couldn't promote until I knew my supervisor's jobs.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of positions in there. There's central control, there's kitchen, there's watch office, there's OP, there's all kinds of sergeant's positions. There's investigations, there's training, IST. And I felt as a Marine, I had to know these jobs. And so I worked hard at getting a lot of experience throughout the institution in different positions as an officer, and getting exposed to these supervisors. And that motivated me. And again, going back to Ed Carrillo, he was that guy. He was a mentor to me, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah,
but he was mentoring me. Yeah, he was fantastic. So guys like him,
Were there moments you thought about giving up?
Oh, yeah. Lots of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, the first time I had a 3-week vacation, I didn't want to go back to work. I was in tears. I didn't want to go back.
Oh, yeah, man. And you know what? And I think for me, about every 5 years, I'd be like, do I want to do this? And, but here's what happened, man. One day I woke up and I was a 20-year vet. And then I was like, well, damn, now I'm so close. You know what I mean? What did earning sergeant mean to you personally?
It meant that I was able to give back to the staff something that they weren't getting like they should get.
Love it.
There were times where I was, as an officer, I'd get a call. The watch officer called me up, say, hey, call home. I'd call home. My wife say, you need to come home right now. My wife never called me at work. My bride never called. In the last 27 years, I could probably say she called me less than 5 times at work. Less than 5 times, if that. And so when I called
when she called, it was serious.
It was serious. So when I called the watch officer, I need to get home. My wife just said I need to get home. They said, okay, we'll send a relief for you. And I'd say, okay. So I'd call my sergeant. They'd call my program sergeant. And he'd say, okay, just stand by. We'll get your relief. 45 minutes later, I'm still there.
Yeah.
Well, when I promoted to sergeant and I got a call from the watch office, or a staff member said they had to go home, guess what? I locked down that building.
Yeah.
you know what? Inmates are locked up. You go home. I'll send an S&E over there. We'll shut down a yard. I'll deal with the lieutenant. I'll take the hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Deal with this. That's true leadership, bro. Yeah. That's looking out for your people, which, unfortunately, brother, you're an anomaly. That don't happen a lot, dude. And, I think even in my line of work, man, I mean, when we had dudes that really took care of us, man, I would walk into fire for those guys, man. And how did leadership change your perspective?
You know what? Leadership in itself is a sacrifice.
It is.
Because you give up a lot.
You do.
You subject yourself to liability.
Yes, because if one of your cops really does something bad, you're going to have to stand on the carpet too and explain why it happened, why you didn't stop it, or what you did afterwards. Plus, I know this.
Why I didn't even know about it.
Yeah. I'm clairvoyant. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think a good supervisor really does. You got to look out for your people, but you are, man. There's times you're having to stand and you have to take the hit from the lieutenant who now wants to squash one of your people.
Been there, done that.
Oh, yeah.
And you stand between a lieutenant and an officer, a captain and an officer, AW. You get hit hard as a sergeant.
Yeah.
It's a huge sacrifice.
What qualities separate a respected supervisor from a feared one? Because I think this, I worked with a lot of dudes that supervised out of fear and intimidation. I did not do good against guys like that. I bucked hard, dude. And I didn't like guys the guys just carried it like, do it my way or else. And I didn't like that.
Yeah. I think again,
And look, just talking to you, it seems like you really tried to take care of your people. You weren't trying to scare the shit out of people.
not at all. It wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
So I think communication, between staff and inmates is one thing, but you also have that effective communication between yourself and your coworkers, your peers. One thing that I used to do is, and I still do it. So I retired as a captain. I look back, and when I see someone that I used to work with, those are my partners.
Yeah.
And so when I introduce, if my wife was with me, I'll say, "This is my partner. This is my partner," and they were my partners.
Yeah.
And someone will step up and say, "No, man, you were my sergeant, or you're my timber, or you're my captain." No, man, we were partners.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's huge. I had some great supervisors, Sergeant Bear, Ted Bear, JD Alcala. They were Marines. And I tell you what, when they ask you to do something, it was something that they'd done or they'd do right next to you. And they always did it. And so I always try to put myself in that same position to where if I'm going to have staff do something, or if I'm going to ask them to do something, it's something that I'm going to do myself. I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
So I the reality is I take ownership.
Love it.
Take ownership. I
promoted to lieutenant, and only 5 years after that, what changed?
It was about from when I got farther apart from staff.
Yeah.
It was weird. So I went from sergeant to counselor and then back to sergeant again. And then I went to lieutenant, and I was further away from staff. I went from first line supervisor to second line supervisor.
Yeah.
And so that one-on-one is gone.
Yeah.
I have one-on-one with my sergeant and or sergeants, depending on where you're working.
Yeah.
And then it's all about monitoring. Ensuring that people are doing what they're supposed to be, report checking and stuff. So that's what
I know this.
Relationships.
Well, that many COs out there, I'm sure that there was I'm sure there's times you really had to come down on guys. You had to counsel people because guess what? With that many people out there, I can just imagine there's always somebody making a mistake or even worse, doing things that are illegal.
Yeah.
And did adversity sharpen your leadership style?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this, during hard times, you gotta be the person that people can look to. And how did you handle the pressure of supervising officers who were once your peers? And I've seen a lot of sergeants fail at this.
You know what? I was lucky. I was so fortunate because I still treated them like partners.
Love it.
That was the idea. For me, it was. I treat them like partners because they were my partners. We had a mission together. We had a job to do together. If anything, I just managed that.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't hard for me at all. You had a couple knuckleheads that straight up tell you, that, hey, I can't talk to you because you're one of them now. That's just ignorance.
That is ignorance. You know what? I just said this, man. Treat people with some respect. Understand that you were once a line guy. Now you're our supervisor. But that doesn't mean that you have to step in and now just be an asshole to everybody.
No.
And what leadership mistakes taught you the most?
There was a situation where I had an officer, as I was a sergeant, I was a watch sergeant, and we had an officer, an S&E. My S&E, watch officer S&E, just disappeared. No one could find him. And where he wasn't answering his radio, he wasn't answering phone calls anywhere. No one seen him. That can get
scary because now you're like, hey, has he been kidnapped? Has he been,
This was at SADF. We had a population of 9,000 at the time. Where's he at? This was third watch. So as a sergeant getting with my watch commander, the administration's gone. It's late. It's after 5. Everyone's gone. So I get with the watch commander and we shut down the whole institution looking for this guy. And we finally find him. And he wasn't where he was supposed to be. And it was just not a good position for him to be in. And I found myself getting a phone call after dealing with him because I wrote him up.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah. And I recommended adverse action. And I ended up getting a call days later from the union, and the union was actually really, really aggressive with me, making allegations that I did this and I did that, and I went off. I was mad
You should be.
because I love my union, and how dare you accuse me of that? And this guy accused me of that when everyone knows darn well. And so I explained everything, over the phone, but there was inflection.
Oh, yeah. Well, and this, it wasn't your fault that he did that.
Right.
And you know what? To lock down a facility, trying to find somebody, I think you did the right thing because it's scary.
Yeah.
Because, hey, man, I mean, things happen and it's a dangerous environment.
And so what happened was one of the fellas on my team, one of the S&Es, one of the officers, he asked me for a moment outside. He pulled me aside and he reminded me that I was better than that, and that I didn't have to inflect.
Yeah.
In order to or use certain verbiage, to deal with this guy in any way, or even the union. And so he brought me back down. That was huge.
Yeah.
I was open to it though. I tell you, I had the best staff.
Well, for you, I mean, just in the short time I've talked to you, you come across as very level-headed.
Yeah.
And, you just have a humble way about you. How important is consistency in command environments? And I think this is where a lot of supervisors fail.
Yeah, it is. It is nothing, especially in that line of work. I mean, it can, you get an escape if you're not consistent. And it's funny because even in consistency, you need to be a little bit inconsistent. Otherwise, you lay down a pattern that's being followed. And you don't want to lay down a pattern that's going to be, it's already there. It's already in the program. There's a pattern already in the program. But when you're walking the line or walking a tier, don't always walk the first tier first, left to right, and then right to left. Switch it up.
Yeah.
So, but from the very beginning, all the way to supervisory and management, it's hugely important. And that's just an example. Walking a tier to holding your staff accountable, to making sure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing it. It's huge. It's all about protecting them. It's all about protecting staff.
I get it.
And yourself.
Well, we're going to transition real fast.
Okay.
I am a master storyteller, and I have a story for you.
Yay.
Okay. So I grew up with this kid. His name was John Paul. And I met him in the 6th grade. We were both very, very tough kids. We were both being raised by single parents. I was tough. He was far tougher than me, and he had an older brother that was tougher than me and him put together. So I think that's what made him really tough. But anyways, we skateboarded together for many years. I loved him like a brother. And but anyways, we get to high school, and one day he just grows, man. And now he's 6'1", weighs 200 something pounds, and he called himself the Hog, right? And the nickname fit him to a T, man. I mean, this guy could outdrink people twice his age, and I saw him dust off a case of beer numerous times in my life. And but he was also tough as nails. And by the time we got in high school, everybody and their mama kind of knew, you got to watch out because he will kick your ass. And but just a sweetheart of a dude, always treated me so good. But anyways, but you know how real life has a way of separating good friends. He moved to Porterville with his soon-to-be wife. I joined law enforcement, and I'm living in Visalia. He's living in Porterville, and so we went years without talking to each other. Well, somehow, some way, somewhere, we reconnect, and I go over to Porterville, have some drinks with them, and we started talking about old times when we were kind of navigating the world with our fists, right? And it was just good to see him. But again, while I was there, he dusted off a case of beer. And a lot of people can't drink a case of beer. That's 24 beers, dude. And he could do it and not even look like he was really smashed when he did it. Anyways, years go by, and we kind of lost touch with each other again. I'm working gangs, so I'm just busy, and I'm living that whole, living that lifestyle. Well, anyways, I get word that his wife had been arrested for embezzlement for like hundreds of thousands of dollars from this business in Porterville. Well, somehow during that time of chaos, he went to a friend's house and never woke up. Okay. So he passed away. And his older brother told me that it was sleep apnea. And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We'll never know what it was. But I know this. The world became a dimmer place for me once he died, right? Because this guy was like the closest. He was such like a brother to me. Like I loved this man, right? So anyways, we go to his funeral, and this funeral is full of people that truly loved him. And I'm a very eloquent public speaker. I can get up and speak in front of 5,000 people right now. But that day I got up to speak. But grief can rob you of your language, brother. And that day I did the best I could, but I really didn't get to convey what I wanted to say because I was upset, right? And then his brother was there, and his brother is still tough as nails. And so to see his brother break down, it kind of broke something in me, man. And I was pretty upset. Well, anyways, wife, she ends up going to prison. And I think she did, I don't know, 3-4 years. I can't even remember what it was. But anyway, she gets out. And she calls me at the police department and leaves a message. Well, I just knew this. I knew she had just gotten out of jail. So guess what? I put it on a recorded line. I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right here. So I call her up. Hey, this is Officer McWilliams. She's like, hey, I just got out of jail. And I said, okay, yeah, good for you. I'm happy for you. And she's like, hey, I'd like to know, do you think we could date? And I said, well, first of all, hon, you're on active parole, and I'm a police officer. Those two worlds, they do not gel together. In fact, when they do come together, they normally collide, right? And I said, I can't date somebody on parole. And that was true. But the real truth was even far more sacred to me, which was that time of my life will always belong to John Paul. Always did, always will. And there was something in me where I was like, I was not going to violate that by trying to date his wife. And, so anyways, to this day, I still think about him. I miss him tremendously. And I think people come into our lives for certain reasons. And I know he came into my life when I needed that brotherhood from somebody we were so similar. And so, God bless his memory and God bless his family. And so I always will think fondly of the hog. Okay. Back to you. All right. You eventually oversaw ISU and gang investigations. How intense was that world?
You know what? It was I was a captain, and it was up at CCI Tehachapi. And that was my first job there. I got promoted and put in that position right away. It was rough. It was rough because I was at a brand new institution. Nobody knew me. And then I get put in, it's a prestigious position to be in. A lot of trust, but the warden trusted me based on my reputation, I guess. And so with her support and being surrounded by the staff that I had a great Lieutenant Perriott was his name. I had some really good sergeants, and the officers in those units were just above reproach as far as I'm concerned.
Love it.
Yeah. They really took care of me. They really spoiled me. Even my clerical staff were good to me. I had oversight. I read their reports. I reviewed them. I gave suggestions where it was necessary. I threw some stuff out where it was necessary, and I asked for more and other stuff. They showed me a lot of respect. I was very lucky. It was intense because there's a lot of bad apples.
I can tell you this, man. I got to go to Tehachapi right when that joint was built. And a lot of people don't realize.
Tehachapi?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're up there at the level 4.
Yeah. But that joint, I mean, people don't realize Tehachapi, that's out in the middle of nowhere, man. No. I mean, it's kind of, now I've driven by it now when if I'm on my way to Vegas or something, and the city's grown drastically. But I remember when that joint was built, dude, that thing was out in the middle of Timbuktu, dude. That city was small. I mean, you had that one made road that just kind of went into the city, but
It's a standalone facility.
yeah, it is. And, even to this day, I mean, you think about Tehachapi, Barstow, those people, they're out in the middle of nowhere.
California
dude.
City.
Yeah. What makes gang intelligence work so dangerous?
The fact that those people that live the gang lifestyle, they don't care.
They don't.
They don't care. And so when you have people investigating their lifestyle and their activities, you automatically become a target for them.
For sure.
So that's what makes it dangerous. The fact that you're putting yourself out there.
I agree.
So a lot of fellas end up, getting a lot of staff end up needing protection too.
Yeah. Here's something a lot of people don't realize. How organized are prison gangs really?
Oh, amazing. As far as I'm concerned, especially the Northern Structure, they're just, it's a government system.
Yes.
And their ability to communicate, even when communication is not available.
They got a lot of money.
They got a lot of money. Yeah. They got a budget, and they've got finance people. Oh, it's huge.
Plus, they got people on the outside. You're right.
It's huge. Could you imagine if they were legit, what they could do?
Oh yeah.
But their reality is that we're not legit, and we're not going to get a chance to be legit. So we're going to do it our way, and they're very successful at it until they get caught.
I would tell you this, man. I mean, I didn't see this at Bob Wiley, but there's guys out there, man. I mean, guys got $50,000 on their canteen, man.
Oh, man, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or they send their kids to college and pay cash.
Yeah.
How do you send your kids to college and pay cash, inmate?
Yeah.
Because they're active. They're moving.
What are people outside the system unable to grasp about the gang influence?
That it even exists.
Yes.
In society daily, when we walk, when we go to Costco, when we're at the movie theater, or when we're just out to dinner, it is all around us. We might be just renting a tuxedo, and we're paying cash. That money's being laundered. It's just, you just never know. It's just all around us.
And, like even here, we always say this, gangs represent 1% of any population you live in. Now think about Visalia. Okay, our sign says 150,000, right? I mean, so we got 1,500 gangsters, bro.
That's huge.
That's a lot of folks out here doing bad. How do prison gangs affect communities outside the prison walls?
It's funny because they control them.
They do.
They absolutely control them. They have their finger on the pulse.
They do.
They know what's going on, and they control what's going on out there too. So if something's not going their way, they're going to make sure that it goes their way.
Well, people get greenlit from inside the joint to the outside to the joint. Yes.
Just like that.
Yes.
And so again, people don't realize that.
And for the folks who don't, greenlit means you're now put on the list to be killed.
Yeah. People don't realize that, but it's real.
It is real.
It really exists.
It's 100% real. What kind of mental toughness does investigative work require?
Concentration. And I tell you what, the ability to retain. I would go to these gang task force meetings. I know you're familiar with them. And I was just amazed how someone could stand up and just start talking about a person and all their contacts. And then someone else from a whole different other county would stand up and say, I got that. Let me take it from here. And they would just carry on with that. People that have never met each other are just able to piece this story together.
Yes.
It's amazing. So
and I was the guy that got up and did the talking.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because there's something about that gang culture. When you really immerse yourself in it, you start knowing who the shot callers are, who's out here doing dirt, who's doing the shootings, who's cooking the meth, who's out here doing, either identity theft, check fraud, all that other stuff. And people don't realize it, man. It's all connected, right? So especially the gangs around here, what are they all doing? Everyone's selling dope, stolen vehicles, right? Prostitution. It's all tied together. And, it is, but to be a good investigator requires a lot of due diligence and it's not easy work because you have to keep yourself you have to have that pulse on what's going on.
Right. And then you have those gang investigative officers on the outside that know what's going on in the prison with the inmate population. And then you have those officers that are within the institution know what's going on in the streets, what's happening in the streets. And not only with the inmates or the gang members on the streets, but with their wives, their moms, their children, their friends. There's a lot of people out there that are associated with gang members that are not gang members, but they're putting in a lot of work.
I agree.
And those are our neighbors.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Did you ever fear retaliation because of your work?
No.
Okay.
No.
How much strategy and psychology goes into prison intelligence operations? Because you got to know how to really deal with these dudes, man. And it's sometimes we can give them the stick, but sometimes we got to give them the carrot.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to know how to balance that.
Yeah.
Good cops know how to do that. I think if you give them all stick, which is nothing but just hammering them, it doesn't work. You got to have that fine line of knowing how to really deal with these guys. And you know what we used against them? And I'm not going to lie. They're old ladies and kids.
Just like that.
Hey, I used to tell them all the time. Because every guy that, we bring them into the box and they'd be like, every single one, I ain't no snitch. And I'm like, that's cool. But guess what? We know you've been using that house with your old lady and kids in it. Mm-hmm. So while I'm talking to you, my team's over at the house right now. We're going to knock down the door. Mm-hmm. If we find dope in there, your old lady's going to jail. The kids are going with CPS. That pit bull's going with animal control. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tow that piece of shit car out there that, and they'd be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'll tell you whatever you want to know, officer. Leave my kids and old lady out of it. And I'd be like, then quit telling me you're not a snitch because you're insulting my intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely. There were, I will not take credit for the fine work that my staff did.
Yeah.
That my partners did. That was not my forte.
I
was an administrator. I had a level head, and I watched, and I reined in when I had to rein in, and I let loose when I let loose. And I tell you what, those fellas, they could be let loose. They just did their job. They did amazing. But man, they had their strengths, and I love to watch them work. They were just amazing. So when they dealt with them as a captain, I didn't deal with them. As a captain, I read the reports and followed up and went to the meetings. And I had my officers. They had their fortissimos, and they were quality. My forte was de-escalation. I could talk. I'm a talker. But other than that, those guys were the gang guys, and they lived it, and they were good at it. And props.
Love to hear it. Were there moments when your instincts saved lives?
Yeah. And you know what? Sadly, it wasn't always great.
Yeah.
It was.
Sometimes it's ugly, brother.
You want to hear a story?
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. It's silly. It's a silly story, but it's a real story. I was working third watch. I was a sergeant, and I got a call we're on a level 4 GP, and I got a call from a building cop. Level 4, it's the highest one.
Yeah.
You get a call from a building cop, and he says, hey, you got to get down over here real quick. This guy's going ape shit. He's just going nuts. He's ripping apart a cell, everything. We can't stop him. Is anybody getting hurt? Anybody in there with the celly? Does he have a celly? He has a celly, but he hasn't touched him yet. I said, well, if you see anything, hit your alarm. If he's going to hit it, do it. And otherwise, we're coming. I let my S&Es know. We all respond. We're not going code 3. We're going code 2. We're going to get there, but we're not going to run.
Yeah. You're not escalating the situation.
Yeah. So we get there, and I walk in there, and this guy's just going crazy. And his cell, he had they have their own TVs or radios, whatever. It's just everything's ripped up. His mattress is in shambles. He's just taking it all out. It's just all gone. And his celly's up in the top bunk, way in the corner, rolled up under his mattress, hiding. This he's a big old yoked guy. He's just huge guy. Just spent 20 years in prison. With it, he's not getting out. And so,
did he get a note from the old lady on the outside? She had a new Sancho, or
no? His grandmother died.
Oh, okay.
And his grandmother was the one that raised him. His parents were no good; they were worthless, and he ended up being raised by his grandmother. And it finally hit him. He hadn't seen his grandmother in years. He never, he'd been locked up 20 years on level 4, which is a long time on level 4. And I finally got him to calm down enough to where I told him that I was gonna take him out of the cell. he'd get him outside, get some fresh air. It was zero dark. It was dark. It was I don't know, 8:00 at night. So the sun was down. We're on lockdown status already. Bar boxes were locked.
Yeah.
So we ended the bar box. I cuffed him up, took him outside, escorted, and we did a couple of laps. And he deflated around the track, a couple laps around the yard. And he's in restraints the whole time. And the whole time he was just in tears.
Yeah.
He was just bawling. Big giant guy, huge. And here I'm a little guy, and he's just crying like a baby. And he's telling me that, he just let his mom down, his dad, his grandmother, and now she's dead, and he hadn't seen her in years. He didn't even necessarily love her, And my motivation in that was I didn't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, and you know what, man? That is, sometimes we have to think on their feet, and we have to think outside the box. Because letting them out, I mean, that was a good call on you, because guess what? Guys, they don't want to break down in front of all the inmates. You get them away, let them separate. You did the smart thing. Let him walk around the track. Let him get out of his emotions. That way, when you do take him back, he's got it all out of his system. Now he can go back into his cell.
And yet there's always that one officer who's just going to talk trash.
And then pour gas on the situation. Yeah. And then now
how weak is Sergeant Andress that he can't handle his business and we can't just cell extract this guy and deal with him. That person, a young officer, she had no idea, that people go home hurt. People go home with shivs in their neck.
Yeah.
With weapons sticking out their gut. And I just wasn't interested in that. I wasn't messing with it. And so we were able to get him 7219. What was his crime? He tore up all his stuff. We did a 115 on him. And who knows, the lieutenant who heard it probably reduced it even. I don't know. But it's for destruction of state property. Signed a receipt where he has to pay for it, and it's done.
Let's move on down the road, man.
And no one got hurt.
Love it.
It's funny because, that's what we're talking about, sacrifice. Even that's sacrificial because you put yourself in a position where you're just going to be judged, not only by your managers and your supervisors, but by your peers and the people that work for you. And they're harsh.
Well, think about this, brother. Honestly, man, I think you did the right thing because, it would have served a better purpose if one of you guys got hurt or he ended up getting hurt, and now everyone's trying to explain what happened.
Yeah.
I just think, I'm in my opinion, props to you, man.
Thank you.
What was the hardest decision you ever had to make in ISU? And ISU stands for?
Investigative Services Unit.
Okay. What was the hardest decision?
I'm
sure you've had to fire cops.
Yeah, that wasn't hard.
Okay.
The reality is in ISU, as a manager in ISU, we just gathered the information. We gave a recommendation. We sent it to our hiring authority. Our hiring authority made the decision.
Yeah.
Based on the facts that we had in the recommendation. The recommendation was based on the facts. So there was no color of the law about it. It was letter of the law type stuff. And so, but the hardest thing was when I had in ISU had a sergeant who I sent out to an interview at 1015 who had just was a victim of excessive force or even possibly unnecessary force, possibly the allegations. When he came back, he wrote a report, and in his report, he had already exonerated all the staff that were involved in this incident. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
Just the facts. This was just an inquiry. It wasn't even an investigation. It was an inquiry.
Yeah.
And when he gave me the report, I read his report and I said, Sarge, you can't do this. This is your opinion. You're not judge and jury here. You got to rewrite this. You got to fix it. And he said, I don't have to fix nothing. This is my way. Blah blah blah. I've been doing this for years, and you don't know nothing, and this, that, and the other thing. And my report stands. And I said, you're right. I can't make you do anything, but I'm just telling you that this is.
Yeah, wait till the warden sees this or the AW sees this, and I'm sure they're going to come down on you because you're right. It's not on us to give our opinions.
Right.
It is facts only.
Facts only.
We ended up, I gave it to the warden.
Okay.
I had to. He was not going to change anything. He was not going to, as much as I asked him to. My lieutenant asked him to. He just refused. He had that pride.
So what ended up happening?
2 days later, the I think, what do they call him? Division director fired him. They came in 2 days later. He was gone.
Yeah, because you got to think about this. Somebody that outranks you tells you to do something, you don't do it. Now you got some insubordination going on. You got a lot going on.
He was gone.
You also supervised internal affairs. How difficult is it to investigate your own people?
You know what? Right is right and wrong is wrong.
I agree.
And there's a reality. The reality is that, when we do stuff as officers in the department, there's always a reason. And for some reason, whether it's right or wrong, we think it's right. All you have to do is articulate it.
Yeah.
Put it down. That's all you have to do. And if it's the truth, you're going to be fine. But when these guys lie and make up stories about why I did this, why I did that, if you're angry and you're mad and you just retaliated, put it.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. You may lose some money. You may spend some time on the beach, but you're going to be fine. But it's when they're sitting there lying, bold face lies, and there's other people involved.
Yeah.
It didn't affect me one bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. In that position, I would make phone calls, or I would, because I would ask my lieutenant. I'd say, hey, Lieutenant, read this. Tell me what you think. Lieutenant would read it, and he'd say, oh. I'd say, why don't you make a phone call? He knew what I was talking about. He'd make a phone call, and we'd get back another report, and it was real. It was what it needed to be, and we were able to move forward. But that wasn't always the case, where guys, again, like my sergeant, who just felt like, no. And the next thing you know, not only is he going down, but there's a whole plethora of folks going down too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a tough one. How do you balance loyalty with integrity?
I hate loyalty.
Yeah.
I hate the word loyalty.
Yeah.
We
should say, this is show business. This ain't show friends. Right.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because in the final analysis of all of it, I used to tell dudes, do not rely on your friendship with somebody making these decisions.
Right.
Because if you put them in a position where it's their job or you, they will cut your head off every time.
Just like that.
Yes.
And how can you blame them?
Correct.
Here's where I'm loyal to. I'm loyal to my God, my country, my Marine Corps. But above that, foremost, I'm loyal to my wife and my family.
Yeah.
And so if anything is done that jeopardizes that, there's no contradiction.
I was going to say, there's no decision at all at that point. Yeah, that's easy.
No, I was loyalty. No, I'm loyal to my family, and I need you to be loyal to your family too.
Yeah,
and the people that you love, you need to be loyal to them. Not this. This is what we do for a living. This is where we work.
Correct.
Be loyal to this. Be loyal to you. You got to pay your bills. I'm not paying your bills.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What does accountability mean in law enforcement and corrections?
You know what? To a lot of people, it doesn't seem to mean much anymore. It should mean. It should mean the accountability should be a person's ability to take responsibility for their actions.
I was going to say, we are accountable for the decisions we make and our actions.
Yeah.
And, even when I train new guys, I used to tell them, listen, you have to, this is a game of chess, not checkers. You got to be looking 3 moves ahead, bro. And I think you're right. We need to be held accountable. And I think even now, I heard CDC now has body cams.
Yeah.
I think that's great because guess what? It's transparency.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's transparency. And I think
I had nothing to hide.
Yeah. And you know what? I wore body cams for, 8 years before I retired. And I always did my job like I was being videotaped even before we wore body cams. If you think about it like that, it keeps you in check. Here's something that I saw a real deficiency in. Why is ethical leadership so important in positions of authority?
Because of the liability, the people that fall underneath you. When I was a young officer, I made a lot of bad choices. I did a lot of stupid things.
Yeah.
I was just very fortunate. Before I was in CDC, when I was in the Marine Corps, and before I was in the Marine Corps, I made a lot of stupid decisions. I made bad choices, and so as an officer making bad choices, they got a lot to lose.
Correct.
So as their supervisor, their second line supervisor, their manager, their administrator, you got to make sure that you protect them from themselves.
I agree.
And
that's a great way to put it. Sometimes you have to protect people from themselves.
Yeah.
Love that.
Someone took care of me when I was an officer. They protected me from myself. They were straight with me. They were honest with me, and they steered me in the right direction.
Love it.
So we got to do the same thing.
What did internal affairs teach you about human nature? Because I think there's just some people out here, brother, and I hate to put it this way, they just can't help but fuck up.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw it. I know you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And, there were times, man, bro, where I would try to talk to that new cop and be like, hey, dude, don't do that shit.
Yeah.
Right? Don't do it. I should say this. Don't make us a witness to this shit. Right? Because you're right. Don't put me in a position where I'm going to have to tell them what I saw. Right? But I think that there's people that get into this career, and I know you saw it, especially with CDC, because you guys are so damn big. Man, there's a lot of dudes making poor decisions, brother.
Yeah, there was a position I had where I was doing stupid stuff, and it wasn't anything really unethical. It was just safety-wise, it was stupid. But I felt it was necessary. I found myself in a position where I felt that I had to do it in order to keep the program going. Cutting corners type thing. Well, my partner, he didn't like it. Well, my partner wasn't doing anything to help me. He wasn't doing anything to help me. So I took it upon myself to make things work. And he told on me. And I got ratted on by my partner. And you know what? The reality is, had something gone wrong, it could have been really, really bad.
As I say, yeah, you probably could have lost your career.
Yeah. So I was angry at him for a while. And man, I tell you, I look back and he's one of the best partners I ever had.
Yeah.
He was looking out for me.
I get it.
I was a young officer. So was he. He was a little straighter than I was at the time.
Love it.
I love the guy.
Did those investigations change the way you viewed trust?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We always say, trust but verify.
Yeah. Trust.
Yeah, yeah. How hard is it emotionally when officers dishonor the badge? It used to piss me off. Because I've seen cops get arrested, and I know you have too.
Yeah.
And, man, especially when it's really egregious, you're just like, damn, dude. I don't like it when somebody does something that makes us all look bad. That used to really piss me off.
And that's what society does. They're gonna group everyone together. So you have one individual who makes a bad decision, bad choice, and it goes south. Everyone's just as rotten. Everyone's just as bad.
Correct.
And that's not the reality.
It's not the reality. Dude, I remember people were like, telling us, why don't you guys go kill George Floyd? And I'm like, dude, dude, that was 2,000 miles away. I didn't have nothing to do with that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What separates ethical leaders from power-driven leaders? Because I saw a lot of power-driven leaders.
Yeah. What separates them is their own selfishness.
Correct.
Honestly, that's from my opinion.
I agree.
I've had some great supervisors, have some great managers and administrators, and some that weren't so great.
Oh yeah.
And what I would tell myself about those that were just power driven, and that were just micromanagement managers, or they would lead by fear, and they were just working on their own career and they take credit for everything you do. My thing was, I would tell myself this to get through it, was that they're not going to let me fail because they don't want to fail.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and they're checking me, I'll be good.
I told a sergeant one time, I said, micromanaging leads to macro fuck ups, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't, and I told another sergeant one time, if you want to do my job and your job, I'm not going to get in your way, Sergeant.
Been there.
Right. And, because of this, if they're trying to be over your shoulder and just ride you, man, it's no way to live. It makes life difficult. I've left some units to get away from people like that because guess what? I'll sweep up. I just won't eat shit while I do it, man. That's me, dude. Here's something I really thought about this one. How do organizations lose their culture, and then how do they rebuild it?
They lose their culture through individuals who make bad decisions or bad choices.
Correct.
and it can
And then
just,
it's always up something big.
Yeah.
It's big.
and it can all, and ironically, it's as simple as one person,
Correct.
and so to rebuild it is a quick response.
I agree. You got to make good decisions and show people we're being transparent, hold people accountable.
Proactive.
What leadership principles guided you through controversy and pressure? Because I know you had some hard times out there, brother.
Yeah. I you know what? Breaking it down, I just didn't, as a supervisor, as a second line supervisor or manager, I just wanted to be that person that I would want to have in my chain of command.
Love that. I love that mentality, because I just think if more guys thought that way, I think it would fix itself. Because you got to have that thinking, man, of like, look, man, I didn't have this when I was coming up, so let me be a resource for my people, man.
Yeah. So my whole philosophy was lead by example.
Love it.
Lead by example.
You retired as a captain, but during the budget cuts under Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, you were demoted back to sergeant. What did that feel like emotionally? I'm sure that was a gut punch, bro.
It hurt bad. I had getting hurt. There was 3 of us at our institution that were all lieutenants that all got demoted back down because of the budget. And a lot of the fellas didn't realize that, or if they did, they didn't care, or they just didn't believe it. And so it led to a lot of harassment, again, gut punching,
Oh, yeah.
And it was not always good. And there were times where it really ate at me, and I didn't have a.
Well, plus, man, there's a financial aspect from it. A
Right.
lieutenant makes a whole lot more money than a sergeant. Now you're taking a hit to the wallet. You're taking a hit to your identity.
Yeah.
Because before, now you were a lieutenant. Now you're back wearing stripes.
Yeah.
And then plus, this. Hey, I know this. Cops love to talk.
Oh, they do. So I tell you what, as soon as that happened, the only thing that I could do, the best thing that I could do, and all 3 of us that all got demoted, we all did the same thing. We went and tested for captain, and because we needed to regain that momentum. And one of the fellas, he was able to promote within probably 4 or 5 months. He did really well on the test. It took me about a year. And then the third guy, took him a couple of years, but we all ended up making captain without going back to lieutenant. We all bypassed it.
Love it.
Yeah, I was real happy with that.
So it actually worked out for you, man.
It
Good
did.
for you. Good for
you.
you.
I didn't get stuck, as a lieutenant.
Did that moment test your identity?
Oh, absolutely.
I know it did.
Yeah. It hurt.
Yeah. How do you separate your rank from your self-worth?
Again, I ground myself,
Yeah.
stay grounded.
Because I saw some dudes, I saw some guys get demoted, and it really, really crumbled them.
Yeah.
It hit them hard, man. What kept bitterness from taking root in you?
It was easy. Just all you had to do is look at the population and realize how easy it is to get caught up in stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And you yourself or your children or any of your family could be incarcerated so easily.
Yeah.
So count my blessings.
Yeah, I agree.
I count my blessings.
Well, I look at you, man, and just listening to you, obviously, this situation, it strengthened you, brother. I mean, and you guys got lucky, all 3 of you guys, because I think it could have did the flip side. It could have really destroyed people. How did you lead while carrying that disappointment?
Like I did before.
Yeah.
Stood tall, took a deep breath, and just thank my partners for being there.
Got it.
For showing up to work, in an awful place.
Yeah.
We all have to show up.
Love it.
And, so that was it. Just like I did it before, I just had to wear a little mud on my face.
Love it.
Yeah.
What did resilience mean to you during that chapter of your life? I'm sure you just got to put your head down and do the work, man.
Yeah, it was a lot. I tell you what, it wasn't possible without my bride, though.
Yeah.
She really motivated me to, stay going, that path, that direction. But I tell you what the real motivation to promote, there's a couple of them. When I first started CDC, I had a number, an income that I wanted to retire at. I wanted to say, when I retire, I want to be retired making this much money, taking home. And I did that. I met
Well, I was
that
going to say, a captain retirement versus an officer retirement is significant.
It's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
So I wanted
$4,000 or $5,000 more a month, I'm sure. I mean,
that was the motivation. But the real motivation, honestly, was, man, I had 4 boys at home. And they're watching their dad. And here I am, a guy without a college degree, high school diploma, some college, promoting through the ranks in an organization that really looks heavy on education, and I was able to do it without a degree. That's hard to do. There's few of us. There's a handful of us that were able to do it. But the reality is it's that much more difficult. That's one thing they look at. As a matter of fact, in an interview, it's always come up. I see you don't have, much college. And I said, no, but this is what I do have.
Yeah.
So
that experience.
Yeah. And so, but the real motivation was my children watching me. They saw it all.
Love it.
And I've got to set that example because I don't want them to fail. And if they do find themselves set back, they need to persevere. And how are they going to do that if they don't know how to do it?
Love it. In fact, you just went right into this one. How do setbacks reveal true character?
Whether they're gonna reveal whether you've quit or whether you persevere.
You know what, man? I had some tough years in my career where I was like, man, I mean, I got denied certain specialty units, or I got denied getting promoted. And man, you know what I did? I just came back and just worked hard, kept my nose clean. But man, it was hard sometimes, brother. It's hard, man. And the career is hard. It's just a tough career, period. It's made to almost bring people in, chew them up, and spit them out.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to someone facing professional humiliation?
You got to live with yourself.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life. You're going to be the greatest judge for yourself, and you're the greatest judge of yourself. And at the same time, you have to be your biggest advocate. You have to advocate for yourself. So the advice I would give is that you need to remember where you were, where you're at, and where you still can be.
Yeah.
Regardless of the circumstances around you, you have control over that. When we try to control something we have no control over, we end up losing control.
No, I agree.
Right? So let's control what we can control.
You know what you really realize, brother? You know what we can really control? Us.
Us. That's it.
That's really all you can control.
That's it. So how am I going to do it?
Yeah. Looking back, what did that painful season teach you?
It taught me that I had a loving, supporting wife.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, you look back at law enforcement and relationships fall because of far less.
Yeah.
Are
you still with the same woman through the whole years?
Through the Marine Corps.
Oh, man. God bless you, man.
Through
all how many years you guys been together?
Going on 35.
Oh, man. Yeah. God bless you, brother.
Yeah.
God bless her.
Thank you so much.
Here's one. How difficult is it for families to love someone who works inside the prison?
My wife and I are cleaning up some stuff just recently, and we going through some keepsakes, some boxes, and we found our boys had their own boxes of stuff in our storage, and I found a paper that my son wrote when he was very young, and it was about me. I'd never seen it before. He never showed it to me, and he described me as being weird, sometimes aggressive, sometimes super silly, but overall a great role model is how he described me. And that he loved me like no other.
Love it.
That was just,
I
won.
Yeah.
I won.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I just had something happen to me, man. My daughter's 20, dude, and she told me that she wants to become a cop. No, I would have never chose it for her, but hey, man, at least I know that I did something right.
Yeah.
Right?
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. What sacrifices did your family make throughout your career? Because I think we miss a lot of holidays. We miss a lot of birthdays. We signed up for this stuff, but our families didn't, brother.
No, they didn't. They were brought into it. And I remember my son sharing with me not long ago that he remembers me walking away from a birthday party or not being there Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Or not coming home because I got ordered over, held over.
Yeah.
Or working 7 days a week, not because I wanted to, but because I had to.
Yeah.
You know
what? Men of our statue,
Yeah.
right? We do the hard work for the betterment of the people we love.
Amen.
But the problem is, bro, is we pay a price because the important shit takes a back seat to our careers. Because we're not asked. We're voluntold, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, get to work, David, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How hard was it to leave work at work? You see, I think you have a way about you. I think you manage that probably better than some, because I saw a lot of dudes that were unable to do that.
Yeah. It was something that I worked hard at. I worked towards. And again, I had the support of an amazing woman, my bride, you know, especially as a captain. This is really what it really came out. As a captain, you're working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And you're bringing home stacks of reports to review after work, or you're staying at work or on the weekends, stacks of them. You're on call, AOD. And I remember, and I was commuting, I was living in Tehachapi, but living in Visalia, but working in Tehachapi. So I spent a week.
Dude, that's a long commute, bro.
Yeah, and did that for almost 3 years. So I was up there, living up there, and then I'd come home on weekends. And I remember I'd come home late at night on a Friday night, and my honey bunny would have the little cocina, the little fireplace outside in the back patio going, and she'd have some music playing, and she would take me right when I drove up. She'd say, "Come on, sit down. I got a blanket for you." And I'd sit down, and she'd put a blanket over my lap, and she would bring me a cup of coffee or hot chocolate or whatever, and a warm soup or caldo or whatever she was cooking. And she just wanted me to relax and chill. And this was coming home knowing that I still had a weekend of work in front of me. But man, that was it. That's how I was able to win.
I was going to say, man, sounds like you got a great woman.
Yeah.
Did the job ever change the way you view people outside the prison system?
It still does.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's
I
sad.
know. Here's the problem with guys like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
We're always going to step into large crowds.
Mm-hmm.
We can't help it. We're always going to, like for me, if I'm in a restaurant, somebody walks in, you know what I do in 2.2 seconds? Threat or no threat? I've already categorized them. Are they a threat or are they not a threat? We do. We don't put our backs to the wall. We have a whole different way of doing things. But I think those will be with us forever. All we can do now is try to manage them the best and be the best people we can.
Right.
What moments at home grounded you the most?
I lost my son.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He passed away when he was 21 from excessive drug use.
Okay. I'm sorry, brother.
That's all right. Here I am, a captain, or at the time I was a lieutenant in the Department of Corrections, and I have a son who's addicted to meth.
Yeah, that's a horrible drug, by the way.
Yeah, and you know what? It's no one is immune to it. Whether you're the child of an officer, a pastor, a senator, or some whatever. And meth is a disease that'll get you. It doesn't matter where you're at in life. And so
horrible drug, man.
So when that happened, I had to learn.
That'll hit you right where you live and breathe, man.
I had to learn forgiveness for a lot of different reasons, and I had to learn. I was already at a point where I was looking at the human population differently, the inmate population, and it's just because of experiences that I've had. But that really made you realize that these fools that are locked up belong to somebody. Their mom or dad loves this idiot for some reason or another.
Yeah.
They have a sister who loves their brother. They have a child or a wife or a girlfriend, and that's important.
It is. And you know what? And I used to talk to a lot of guys when I was working out there in jail. And you know what I told them? You know what life is? Choices.
Yeah.
I go, look, man, nobody stuck a gun to your head and told you to start doing this stuff. Right. You made that conscious decision. Plus, this, man, the whole criminal lifestyle has been so glamorized by Hollywood and, even rap music and stuff like that. It's like, hey, dude, it's all fun and games until you get caught.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I would find myself in positions since that.
I'm sure it humbled you a little bit.
It really, helped me reflect, and so when dealing with people, even today, I have to remember that someone loves them. And so I'm a lot more caring. I was talking to a friend of mine, a retired Marine, and I was an angry person in the Marine Corps. I was mean. I was mean in CDC. I was not good, and I tell you what, it took a lot for me to settle down. And that had a lot to do with it, later in life. How I talk to people or treat people. And I've always found myself really good at talking to people, but this was a whole different level. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't sympathetic to nobody.
Yeah.
And I wasn't empathetic to them either, but I sure was understanding of where their parents might be in their lives. And that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Were there moments when your family helped save you emotionally?
Man, every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. How important is having a strong support system in corrections? You gotta have somebody, brother.
It's so amazing because it's so one-sided.
Yeah.
In law enforcement. My brother was also a correctional officer, and or the fellas. You get together with the fellas every now and then. I was always a family person. I go home to the family. I didn't go hanging out with nobody else. I didn't have guys and dad. Screw all that. I had a wife and kids. I had a brother, and it's funny because we would talk and we would share, or old partners, we would talk and we'd share even today, and it's a whole different communication than you have with your family. Your family never hears this stuff.
Yeah.
They just don't talk about it. So it's hard for them to be supportive when they don't understand. But I was fortunate that I had that huge support from my family, even though they didn't really know.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Well, you know what we do? We try to shield our families from this stuff. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I've even had my kid go, "Man, Dad, some of the stuff you say on your show," and I'm like, "Hey, I didn't need to tell you this stuff when you were a little kid, right?" Dude, this show has become very cathartic. This has been healing for me. It's healing for other people.
Yeah.
And I've told a lot of people, "Hey, man, the stuff I say on here sometimes, hey, it's in your face and it's raw.
Yeah.
But guess what, man? It's helping people." That, honestly, brother, it means a lot to me, because if I can help somebody like me, or I can help somebody like you, I never miss a chance to do so. Did your career ever cost you personally?
Yeah. Yeah, it cost everybody. Cost my whole family.
Yeah.
It
cost me a marriage or two. I can tell you that.
You always
cost me some friendships.
Yeah, that cost me friendships. You always wonder, you always look back and say, could I have done something different? Was it something that I did? Especially, when it comes to losing a son.
Oh, yeah. That's, man, I lost my sister in 2009, or actually 2010 from suicide. And bro, that hit me right where I live and breathe, man. Yeah. Right where I live and breathe.
It's real.
How do officers protect their marriages and relationships from burnout?
Prayer, consistency.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's about sacrifice. I can go to work and be that supervisor who's going to sacrifice himself or his staff to make sure that their needs are met. But I got to go home and do the same thing. And I was, and it's easy to say, it's hard to do. Again and again. I'll say it over and over and over again. I was just lucky as my wife. She sacrificed herself for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just lucky. Very blessed.
Good for her.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Guillermina.
Well, God bless you, hon. What conversations about your work were hardest to have with your loved ones?
Ones that exposed the dark side of me.
Yeah.
Me being violent.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. They saw my aggression already because I'm a Marine and because I work CDC, and sometimes dealing with society, I'm not very pleasant. I don't get me wrong. My fuse is very, very, very long. But once my fuse burns out, I go from 0 to 60 like that. And it's the same in work.
Well, I'm thinking too, Marine, CDC. Hey, there's going to be a little bit of this in there, and I got a lot of it. Machismo. Yeah.
So I think the hardest part was for them to see or hear about the side of them that I never really want them to experience.
Exactly.
You know, and that's
Exactly.
same reason we don't share what happens in the institution with our family or the stuff we're involved in. Don't get me wrong. There were times where I had to, where it was very necessary. And again, I was just very lucky to have the support.
Love it. What does leadership truly mean to you now?
Oh, leadership is sacrifice.
It is.
Leadership is sacrifice, but it's always for a greater cause.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah. I always say this. I want to use my skills, my intellect, my education. I want to use it in the service of others. You know, what separates command presence from ego?
I don't have a command presence. I'm too short and fat.
But you know what, though? You know what I love about you, man? When I met you, all right? I was with Marco. We were at the Elks, and he introduced me to you. And it was funny, man. I had never met you, man, but you just walked up. You had this big smile. You were very nice. And when you walked away, Marco was like, hey, man, I think this dude would be a great guest, man. And I was like, well, hey, let's make it happen, bro.
Wow.
And, I tell Marco all the time, if Marco recommends somebody, that's all I need to hear.
It's nice.
That's because I trust his judgment. And, for him to give you a glowing recommendation, that's all I needed to hear. But you got a cool way about you, bro.
Thank you. Honestly, a command presence comes around when it needs to.
Yeah,
when you're in a position where shit's about to hit the fan, you have to step it up and you have to put yourself out there. I don't have a problem flexing.
Yeah.
And then, there's a time and day for everything else. But right now, it's all about what I'm telling you to do.
I agree.
Let's get it done.
I agree. How do you earn respect in difficult environments?
Lead by example.
Yeah.
Don't, me personally, I took ownership of every direction I was given.
Yeah.
If my lieutenant, as a sergeant, my lieutenant, AW, warden, chief deputy, if my hiring authority said this is what we're doing, I'd go to him and I'd ask him, why are we doing it? Because I want to know why. And they didn't always want to tell me. But if I had concerns, I'd let them know I had concerns and what my concerns were. And I just need, most of it's just my lack of understanding. And so that direction, when I would pass it on and I'd pass on those expectations, they were no longer the expectations of the hiring authority or the institution or the department. They were my expectations.
Yeah.
These are my expectations. I'm taking ownership of them.
Yeah.
And so I want you to take ownership of them too. And I got a lot of great response that way, a lot of positive reaction to that.
Love it.
Yeah.
What makes a great correctional officer?
Communication, effective communication, the ability to say no. That's hard. The ability to say no. Because lots of times these guys will push and push and push.
Oh, yeah.
And test. So, but effective communication, confidence is huge.
Yeah. You have to carry yourself in a way that even if you don't know what you're doing, you need to look like you know what you're doing.
And it starts with the uniform.
Oh, yeah.
The haircut, the shave.
I was going to say, you got to, if people can tell when you care, flat out, right? Like me, when I showed up, man, my uniform was meticulous. My car was cleaned. I was that guy. When I got out of my car, people were like, "Oh shit, this is a different dude," right?
Yeah.
What qualities cannot be taught in your profession that you almost just already have to have them?
That's a good question, Jason. That can't be taught. The ability to trust, because it's the word an oxymoron. In the institution, you can't trust anybody. But when it comes down to even your partners, because they're going to let you down and you're going to let them down.
Yeah.
But you have to, so it has to be earned and learned. So maybe trust. And I tell you what, though, once you get it, it don't ever go away. It's funny. I'll tell you a story. My son was sharing with me, one of my sons was sharing with me that, he finds it interesting that, have so many friends that people that I worked with that I really just love.
Yeah.
I love these people. And it's because I've been shoulder to shoulder with them facing 2,000 inmates in a riot.
Oh yeah.
You know, weapons, a guy with a weapon trying to stab me, you know, and this guy's right here, or some cell searches that have gone wrong and a day room going off, you know, and these are the fellows that are right next to me. We're trying to contain the situation.
I always say this: when you risk your life with somebody, those bonds, they're strong, man.
Huge.
And what role does humility play in leadership?
Man, it better be the biggest thing. You know what? And the reason is because unless you're just absolutely perfect, which no one is, you're going to fall short somewhere.
Correct.
And you need to be able to ride that wave. And if you're not able to, then you'll fail. And you'll fail because you won't have the support of the people that are lifting you up. Because that's a reality. The reality is the only reason I'm in this position as an administrator, as a captain, in my case, is because my staff, the people that I work with, they're allowing me to. They're supporting me.
Love it.
You know?
How important is emotional control in high pressure careers? Because I've seen a lot of guys, they let their emotions take over.
And it's really important, and it's really hard to do. And it's difficult. It'll make or break a situation, a circumstance.
Big time.
Yeah, you'll lose a situation just like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
What did corrections teach you about society itself?
Society's ugly. It's gross.
It is, man. It is.
There's devil's wandering the earth. He's doing his stroll and he's loving it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. There is a whole batch of inmates being cultivated in every generation, brother.
Right.
And
Job security.
Did the career make you more hopeful or more cynical about humanity?
Cynical.
Yeah, me too.
Cynical.
Me too.
Very cynical. I'm hopeful in my children. I tell you what, I see a young man. There was a couple of young men came to my door a few weeks ago wanting to wash my windows, saying they're just junior high kids, man. And I said, yeah, you come back tomorrow at this time, you can wash my windows. They were there the next day, 5 minutes early, with all the tools they needed. They did a great job. I paid them, gave them a tip, and put it out there. That's great. I love that. But it's far and few, far in between.
You know what, man? I got to spend 8 years working in the schools, and know what? And that was a tough gig. But I will tell you this, man, it gave me a new outlook on life when it came to these new generations, because some of these kids are phenomenal. Nice. They really are.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to have your group of shitheads? Yes, you are. They're coming too. But man, there's some motivated, dedicated kids that are really, and I'm really big on education because, I got a master's degree. So, I worked my ass off to do it. But I would tell you this, man, it really changed my perspective on a lot of things. And so every time I worked in those schools, it almost put some money in the bank for me for the way I looked at people, right? What life's philosophy carried you through 27 years?
Real simple. Mom would say, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
It's a simple philosophy.
Yeah.
The sun will always.
Yeah. No matter how bad it gets.
The sun's going to come out.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. And then another piece of advice she would give me was, you just never spit in the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We always used to say this. Hey, man, life is like the weather. Hey, no matter how hot it gets, sooner or later, man, there's a cool breeze coming in, brother. Right.
Oh, and how refreshing that is.
Yeah. When you look back at your journey, what are you most proud of?
You know what I'm proud of? That I was able to promote like I did, even through the reality is that I'm not one to. I never played the game. I never was good at it. I didn't go golfing with the fellas. I didn't go play cards or gambling or drinking. I hung out several times with some guys for a little bit and go home, but I always went home.
Yeah.
And I prioritized my family first. And to be able to promote that far is difficult to do.
Big time.
Especially without the education in the moral compass. You know what? I asked my hiring authority why I got promoted, because I'd interviewed at least 18, 20 times throughout the state of California for captain. I could not get picked up. Was it because of my education? I asked my own hiring authority, my own warden, boss, why aren't you hiring me? He said, because he couldn't ask me to do the things that he'd need me to do. He just couldn't do it. And so when I got to where I was going, I asked my warden, she said, because I needed someone I could trust.
Love it.
And so, and that was that was refreshing to me, because the reality is in that field, it's politics.
Yeah, it's politics big time.
Yeah.
And that's where I wasn't good at politics.
Yeah.
That was my thing, because number one, I was really good at what I did, and I didn't have a problem telling people that I was better than them at what I did.
That's good.
And but I also had the sheepskins on the wall. But what good it did me, because I retired as a slick sleeve officer. What moments still stay with you late at night?
Oh man, brother, I have nightmares still.
Yeah. You know what, man? I keep having this dream, man, that I'm in a shootout and that I pull the trigger and the gun doesn't go off, or it misfires, and you know, I kind of did a little bit of a deep dive, but you know what that is? It's about control and realizing that, you know, if you really think about it, our amount of control is pretty small. Yeah. How do you want your fellow officers to remember you?
You know what? I want them to remember me. I hope they can look back. My peers, my partners, they can look back and they can say that I lifted them somehow, in some way.
Love that, brother.
Yeah,
love that. I mean, I love the way that you think when it comes to that, because I wished more people thought that. Mm-hmm. Dude, you know how I live my life right now? All I want to do is lift people up, brother. Yeah. That's all I want to do. Yeah. What do you hope younger generations understand about corrections work?
It's an honest living.
It is an honest living.
It's a job. It's a good career.
If you can survive it.
If you can survive it. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
It's not for everybody.
You have to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be it, I suppose.
Good. What wisdom only comes through hardship?
Persevere. The wisdom to persevere. The opposite of ignorance, the opposite of...
Love it.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, honestly, David, man, you got a really cool way about you and the way that you carry it, especially for somebody that made captain. You just have this very caring way about you that I didn't see in a lot of dudes that wore bars or stars. And I think our careers could benefit from more people like you. And I'm not just saying that because of this show. I know I can read, I can smell bullshit quick. Yeah. And with you, man, everything about you tells me that that's how you really were, that you were trying to help and you were trying to help your people. Man, bro, this career is tough enough without having somebody. It's a kick in the nuts in the first place. You don't need somebody stomping on them too. You know what I mean? If you could speak to your younger self entering corrections in 1991, what would you say to him?
I would say, you know where you want to be. You know the path you have to take. Don't hesitate. Listen to no one and take that path. Absorb everything that is great and dismiss everything that isn't.
Good man. Good man. What did service ultimately cost you, and what did it give you?
Well, I tell you, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a judge or a senator.
Yeah.
So it cost me. I can't even say it cost me family, because I have a wonderful family. I have amazing boys, and they learn that what we have is what we have, and it's each other. And so what I've gained is just the ability to look at my family and see their successes as my own.
Love it, man. That's a great way to think, dude.
Yeah.
What legacy do you hope you left behind?
Man, there's so much. You know, I think it's my wife and I together, and it's really honestly it's focused. It's on family,
Good man.
and it's for our children, and that they just put each other first, and that they love each other
Love it.
without fault, and they do, and so that's all that matters, you know,
Yeah.
because everything else will follow,
Yeah.
you know.
After all these years, what does strength mean to you today?
It can be superficial, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because the reality is beneath that strength, we're scared.
Yeah.
You know, we're scared of failure, scared of getting hurt, scared of someone else getting hurt.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot to lose.
Yes.
One thing, there was a period where I was going through investigations, and it was one of those investigations I was really upset about because I didn't do anything wrong, but it could cost me my job. It could cost me my freedom is one of those investigations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't do anything wrong. But my wife shared with me, she said, you know, she goes, before I met you, we had nothing. And she goes, and if anything happens and we have nothing, we still have each other. So nothing else matters.
Good.
So just go. Just
That's awesome, man.
ride the wave. She was not, what is the word, superficial?
Oh yeah. She was in it. She was in it with you all the way.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
When the uniform came off for the final time,
Yeah.
who were you underneath it?
Man, you know, it's because this sucks, Jason, because I told you from the very beginning that being, you know, a correctional officer was what I did.
Yeah.
But the reality is when that uniform came off, I was still there.
Yeah.
You know, it took a long time, and it obviously I still haven't been able to separate myself from it. And it's funny because when I run into fellows like Marco or Chewy, or when we hung out with Curtis Hebner, and we, you know, or any of the fellas, Ed, go have lunch with Ed, brother, I feel right at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find so much comfort, and I'm happy, you know, just to be around those guys. I just feel comfortable, you know. So the reality is when the uniform came off, I'm still the same guy I was before.
Love it. Yeah. All right, man, we're going to transition.
All
we're going
right.
to go into a lightning round. These are going to be quick. Boom,
Okay.
boom, boom. Okay, here we go. One word to describe your career.
Successful.
Toughest prison assignment.
Captain at Tehachapi State Prison.
Most important leadership trait.
Trust.
Biggest misconception about correction officers.
They're knuckle draggers.
First thing you learned in the Marines.
That I can do anything I set my mind to.
Good man. Coffee or energy drinks during long shifts.
Coffee.
Good man. Hardest rank to earn.
Captain.
One habit that kept you disciplined.
Prayer.
Most stressful part of prison work.
Being away from home.
What scares you more, chaos or silence?
Silence.
Favorite part of being a leader?
Watching your people grow.
Good man. Least favorite paperwork duty?
Dismissing staff.
Best advice you ever received?
Love one another as I have loved you.
Good man. Most memorable moment in uniform?
In CDC uniform,
Yes.
the moment I took it off.
Good man. A lesson prison taught you about humanity?
It's ugly.
Yeah. One word that defines resilience? You can
Family.
use a few.
Man, family.
Good man. What kept you going during setbacks?
Family.
Marine Corps in one word.
Tough.
Yeah. Corrections in one word.
Tough.
Yeah. Leadership or loyalty?
Leadership.
What matters more, respect or authority?
Respect.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Favorite way to decompress after work?
I sing.
Okay. Did humor help you survive the job?
I'm not funny. My partners were. So their humor, I'm too serious.
Okay. One thing new officers need to understand immediately.
Prison is a different. It's a whole new society. It's different. It's where they're not on the streets.
Yeah. Biggest sacrifice of your career?
Missing family things, events.
A moment you'll never forget.
The day my son died.
What made a good correctional officer stand out?
His ability to communicate.
Calm under pressure or controlled intensity?
For me,
Yeah.
controlled intensity.
Favorite rank you held?
Sergeant.
One thing people underestimate about prison gangs?
They are dangerous.
Very. What gave you strength during the hard years?
Prayer.
Most valuable lesson from failure?
That I can recover.
Good man. Did adversity make you stronger?
Oh, yeah.
What quality earned respect fastest inside the prison walls?
Among staff,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. You know what? Look, when you look out, they look out for each other. That for me, it's like the guy that gave me up told on me,
Yeah.
for making stupid ass decisions, and I should have been written up. I could have lost money, but he saved my job.
Love it.
I respect him to the end of time. I love the man.
Love it. Best compliment you ever received from another officer?
You must be a Christian.
All right. One thing that instantly destroys leadership?
Lies.
Most difficult part of supervising others?
Honesty.
Yeah. What motivates you today?
My family.
Okay. Biggest difference between fear and courage?
Courage is not the absence of fear.
Yep.
Courage is not the absence of fear. The big difference is courage is embracing that fear and overcoming it.
Damn right.
Intensity under.
Yeah. Saddling up anyways. Yeah. One thing you'd change about corrections?
That I would change?
Yeah.
That's a good question, Jason.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear some of the other answers.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly,
Yeah.
probably salary.
Okay.
Pay.
Good. Yeah. Up in the salary.
Yeah, and and another thing is minimum qualifications for promotion.
Got it.
Because there's a lot of very smart people out there with great abilities. That you don't need to have a PhD
I agree.
to be a great leader.
Most rewarding part of your career?
Most rewarding part of my career
Yeah.
was running into a 10-15 on the street who's overcome and they're living life and they're happy and they're doing well.
Love that.
Very few.
Small, man. One thing you never tolerated as a leader?
I tolerated a lot. Unnecessary force.
Yeah.
Unnecessary force.
Just to digress real fast, I told a sergeant one time this. I said, what you allow in your presence speaks more about you than what you know.
Ah, there you go.
Right?
Yeah, it's good.
What does integrity mean to you?
Integrity is the ability to be honest and truthful, regardless of the circumstances and regardless of the consequences.
Yep. Favorite memory from the United States Marine Corps?
White Beach, Okinawa. We had 6 hours of liberty, and we were supposed to be asleep. There was a company gunny. He was the youngest gunny in the Marine Corps at the time. He got us cases of booze, Japanese beer, and we did a little hump up to a cliff overlooking White Beach, Okinawa, and it was like at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, or in the evening, till 5 in the morning, which was reveille, and we just sat up there and we listened to island music and just relaxing.
Good man.
Yeah.
What kept you humble?
Oh. And I don't know, Jason.
You got a way about you, though, man. You just have a humble way about you.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
What kind of legacy matters most?
It's funny because it's legacy is important to me and my family. A legacy of just being good.
I love it. Yeah, man. I always say this. I try to be a good person, but I really try to help people. I was born to be in service of others, right?
Yeah.
A quote you live by.
Do or die.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's harder, earning rank or keeping respect?
For me, it was earning rank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One word to describe the prison culture.
The culture amongst the population?
Yeah.
Evil.
Okay. Did the job make you emotionally stronger?
No, it made me, sorry, it's more than one word. It didn't make me emotionally stronger. It made me, what's the word? It desensitized me.
Yes. Yes, we do become very desensitized. What helped you survive mentally?
God.
Good man. What do younger officers need more of today?
God.
Okay. How do you want to be remembered after it's all said and done?
As a good dad.
Good. Final question. Final word that defines your life's journey.
Not done.
Good man. Good man. I got a quote for you. Some men spend their lives searching for purpose. Others answer the call the moment duty whispers their name. You stood with strength and discipline of the United States Marine Corps. For 27 more, you walked the unforgiving corridors of the California Department of Corrections, carrying order into chaos and leadership into darkness. Your story is not written in medals or rank alone, but endurance, sacrifice, and the quiet courage to serve when most would have walked away. You did not choose the easy road. You chose the meaningful one. When I read that today, I thought of you.
Thank you, Jason. Wow.
Real fast, we're going to wrap up here in a second, but I want to tell you something. It was an honor to have somebody of your caliber come on here. And I'm not just saying that, brother. You have a way about you. You have this, even though you're only 2 years older than me, you have this father figure way about you, man. It's been an honor to talk to somebody that rose to the rank of captain, who kept your soul. Also, I love the fact, just talking to you, it seems like you didn't leave a trail of bitterness and betrayal behind you like a lot of leaders I knew that did. Before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to say?
You know, I appreciate what you're doing. I know you're out there, and I'm excited to watch it grow.
Thank you, brother.
Successes in your future, and it's exciting to see because, like you said earlier in the broadcast, people are going to benefit from this, and it's real. Especially for the fellas that do the career, for the guys and gals, the ladies too. You know, they carry a heavy burden with them.
They do
in all fields of law enforcement, and it's not spoken about. And this is very therapeutic.
Oh, it is,
for
man.
me too.
It is, brother.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's like, for you, I mean, for the fact that I have a former captain on here, I hold that in high regard because I know this. Number one, they don't hand out bars to just anybody. So that tells me that you were squared away. You were doing the right thing. Clearly, you have integrity. You have that intestinal fortitude to do all the things you did. And I just think that your story, I think it's going to help somebody. And I think that people are going to get a lot of the inside look of what this job can do to you because it's not all fun and games. No. Before we wrap up, I want to give a dedication to a guy that recently passed. He was a CDC officer for 27 years. And I want to read you something. Curtis Dale Havner, known to all who loved him simply as Kurt, passed away from this life on May 6th, 2026, in Visalia at the age of 56. Though his earthly journey has come to a rest, the strength of his spirit and the quiet beauty of his life will continue to echo through the hearts of those blessed to know him. Born on March 8th, 1970 in Exeter, Kurt was a son of a Central Valley, a man shaped by hard work, humility, faith, and unwavering devotion to family. He carried within him a calm and steady presence, the kind that brought comfort without needing words. His life was not built on loud recognition, but on consistent acts of love, loyalty, and service that left a lasting mark on everyone around him. A proud graduate of Golden West High School, Kurt went on to dedicate 27 honorable years to the California Department of Corrections as a correctional officer. In a profession that demanded courage, resilience, and integrity, he stood firm. He served with a quiet professionalism and an unshakable sense of duty, earning the respect of colleagues and the trust of those who stood beside him. He understood that true strength is often found not in power, but in discipline, compassion, and the willingness to show up every day with purpose. God bless his memory, and God bless his family.
Amen.
And, Marco was the one that asked me to do this, and I told him, I said, 100%. For the folks at home, if you guys ever want me to do a dedication on the show for anybody, just contact me. The answer will always be yes.
Nice.
It's something in my heart that even though I didn't know Kurt, man, when I read these, man, and, even writing this, brother, it touches your heart, bro.
It does.
It does.
And that, Curtis, he's that guy. He's that, everyone that knows Curtis loves Curtis.
Love it.
Everybody. He has no enemies. Curtis is he's so in tune. He's so insightful. He sees a need. He acknowledges the need, and he fills that need. He just acts. He will.
Love it.
Every single person that comes into contact with Curtis felt like his best friend.
Yeah,
and he just always felt taken care of, and he did. He's just that guy that go out and take care of. I know
Marco told me, he's like, man, he goes, when I worked with Kurt, man, he goes, I always felt safe. He goes, man, he had my back.
Yeah, they were tight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, folks, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Next week, I'll have a new guest. I'm also going to post a picture of Kurt at the end as we're closing out, and I'll leave you with my quote I always leave you with. Good luck, God bless, and Godspeed.